Recording in progress. Call this meeting to order. Amy McNabb is not feeling well, so she'll join us remotely. And we appreciate the fact that she didn't want to share her germs with everybody. So thank you, Amy. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, and as amended as of March 28, 2025, this meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public and board members, the meetings/hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless required by law. This meeting will be recorded by the local scene, formerly known as pac-tv. Members of the public who wish to watch this meeting may do so by viewing the Duxbury Government Access channels Verizon 39 or Comcast 9. Viewers can visit the local scene.media/Duxbury for information about Duxbury programming, including streaming and watching replays on the Duxbury YouTube. All right, second item on the order is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the next item is open forum. Fellow board members, anything for open forum? Mike?
I'll cede my minutes to Mr. Fleming.
How did you know I'd have something? I just have a few things since our last meeting on May 18th. First, I'd like to thank Duxbury Bay Maritime School and the many individuals who made the opening of the Bay a fun and engaging community event on May 23rd. I know a lot of work went into that, so thank you to everyone. Second is thanks to the Duxbury American Legion Post 223 for leading the town's Memorial Day observance this past Monday. And thanks especially to the many residents who came out in miserable weather to honor our departed veterans. And finally, at 6 p.m. tomorrow, that's June 2nd, Mass DOT is hosting a virtual design public hearing regarding the Route 3A, that's Tremont Street, Exit 20, interchange project. Anyone can attend, but you must register for online access by going to mass.gov/orgs/highway-division/events, or you can just Google Route 3 Exit 20. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Amy?
I'm all set, thank you, and thank you for accommodating me.
No problem at all. Hopefully you're feeling better.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Michael?
Yes.
You have anything for open forum?
No.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We've got a big, long list.
Yeah, I just have one item. I think for an agenda item in July, once the fiscal season is closed, I think it would be good for the board to, maybe when Mary McKinnon, our finance director, has a chance to put together a 5-year outlook for both operating and capital. I think we need to look at it sometime in end of July, maybe beginning of August, so that we can provide direction. Have a conversation amongst the select board and provide direction to the town manager and department. So I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Good idea.
All right.
That was the plan.
That was the plan. I like a plan. That comes together. That's good. Right. Next item under new business. Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Public. Open forum. Thank you. Anything from the public? Anything in the room?
This is for a future agenda, not for items on the agenda today.
And I see nothing online. Oh, right. Open forum. Name and address, please.
I wasn't planning on this, but at this point, I'm so upset. Geraldine McShane, Garnet Road. I was here at the last select board meeting. I think it was the last select board meeting. We talked about the PFAS contamination problem on Garnet Road. And I thought, could be mistaken, that there was going to be a communication that was going to go out to the residents of that area. And I haven't seen anything yet, and I don't think it's my responsibility to inform them. So I'm just wondering if something's going to go out and when it's going to go out and who's going to be accountable for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I see Rennie writing furiously.
Yes.
Thank you.
Feverishly.
All right. Anybody else for open forum? Excellent. All right, the next item on the agenda is an overview of the trust fund portfolio managed by Rockland Trust. It will be presented by Mary McKinnon, our Finance Director, Brian Callow, Rockland Trust Senior Vice President and Director of Fixed Income.
Excellent. So if I could start, we are pleased this evening to have three representatives joining us from Rockland Trust, Brian Callow, Dave Schiller, and Margie Vos. The town has enjoyed a very long-standing relationship with Rockland Trust as they manage our trust fund portfolio. Prior to jumping into Brian's presentation, I just want to highlight two items of materials that you should have received. The first is a slide deck that was provided from Rockland Trust that Brian will summarize for us this evening. And I also left you a copy. I wanted to just do a quick introduction because we ask Rockland Trust to come out here once a year and provide some information to the community on the status of our trust funds and the performance of our portfolio. I think there was a little bit of confusion last year, perhaps over the funds that are being managed and invested by Rockland Trust, and so I left a two-page handout for you at your chair. And the first chart illustrates for you the various fund types that the town manages. And quickly, they are the general fund, some revolving accounts like school lunch in Chapter 90. We have federal grants, state grants, receipts reserved for appropriation, community preservation funds, special revenue funds, capital projects funds, enterprise funds, and then, of course, our trust funds. So the three items that are highlighted in green, which are the community preservation funds, some special revenue funds, and trust and agency funds, those are the monies that are managed and invested by Rockland Trust. Those items, if you look at the second page of your handout, that is a list of the account names that we have invested with Rockland Trust, and you will note that all of those are restricted in its purpose. So they are things like scholarship funds, trust funds, cemetery funds, things that are not able to be used to support the town's operating budget. They are used for restrictive purposes based on either their donation requirements or their Mass General Law statutory requirements. So these are funds that are not utilized to support the operating budget. Does that make sense?
Yes. Right, and it's just
Fantastic.
north of $40 million.
That was the balance as of March. So if you look, I gave you an excerpt of a statement from a few months ago just to illustrate the types of accounts that Rockland is managing for us. Okay? Mike?
May I ask, are we using all of these funds for purposes?
We are absolutely using these funds for their restricted purposes in which they were intended.
All right.
Correct.
All right.
Okay. So with that being said, so we know what we're talking about here in terms of the piece of our portfolio, I'll turn it over to Brian.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you, Board, for having Rockland Trust Investment Management Group in here tonight. At any point, if I'm too close or too far away, just put a hand up and I will adjust. And so I think I was just almost a little over a year ago, we were here and we probably gone into a little deeper last time.
Right.
I see your agenda tonight, so I will try to keep my comments a little more contained, and then I'm always open for any questions or comments now or later as follow-up. But again, to be cognizant of the time, I will try to keep it a little bit moving. And thank Mary and the finance director, and the finance department for what they've done as they've laid out the funds in front of you. And just to echo Mary's comments, they are for, multi-purposes, but for special purposes. And most of these accounts essentially are restricted or invested to the, if you want to call it, the letter of the law by the state to keep the town in good standing and make sure that we're obeying the laws of the Mass Legal List and all statutory requirements.
Okay.
And so when I go to page 2, that's kind of the breakdown of the funds and the allocations that we invest. Just to put and so already I'm seeing my agenda, and I have I have the middle number is all I am on your agenda, so I'll try to contain those as well and keep it to the trust fund, but I'm happy to talk about any of the funds in general.
Sorry, Brian, I don't mean to interrupt you. There's plenty of chairs in the front. Seriously.
Oh yeah, come on
Please. The gentlemen hanging outside, make yourselves at home.
Yeah. Well, I can go somewhere
You
else.
come and sit in the front. There's lots of seats. Okay, so thank you for letting me do that,
If you see
Brian.
anyone else, by
Yeah,
all
if you see
means,
anybody
please
else,
do it.
I'll...
It's important
All right.
to have everybody here and heard, and so they can hear everything. So on page 2 breaks out the types of accounts. And just to kind of, because we put words on it, if you go through the list that are the trust funds, or that group that's where those funds are held, that's invested to a balanced objective. So it's kind of, field mix, bond and stock, if you're going to call it 55-45, or, bond and stock mix. When you go down to the health trust, if you think of that, that's kind of reserve for anything, obviously we're all we're well into the healthcare woes right now, and the cost side of that, and the waves that are coming and have been. And so that is a less aggressive portfolio. The balance is not aggressive. Obviously, that's middle of the road. Income and growth is essentially a 70% fixed income, 30% mass legalist stock on that side. So we kind of call that and I think I was maybe even quoted in the paper last year saying it's the sleep at night portfolio.
Right.
It's the one that, when things go bump in the night, economically the portfolio stands real strong. And on a reserve fund, we want it to be like that. Whereas the trust funds, we need the stuff to cover us with bumps at night to pay out. But at the same time, we want equity to grow the capital through time. The next one on the list is the OPEB. There we don't have the withdrawals, and so it's more aggressive. It's 3/4 stock to the quarter bond, and that's because we're just broke into the double digits for funding ratio. So that's really, we want to be aggressive with that, because for every dollar you don't put in on the capital side or growth, you have to ask townspeople for. So that's why that's more aggressive than the other portfolios. It won't be used for a long time. It's a multi-decade event.
Correct.
And so that's able to take the waves that we don't want the other portfolios involved in.
Yep.
The newest one that was added, the community preservation funds, was obviously we collect that in for future purchases for the town, and that was just started up at $5.8 million. It's already collected. It's already at 5.822 right now, so it's positively on positive trajectory, as all these funds have been through time. But that's kind of the layout right there. We do charge a fee. It is 0.29% when you add up all the assets. So certainly very in line with industry and norms, and I would say quite well below for bond stock portfolios. And to Mary's comments, it is that we are to mass statute, so the coinage that the state uses, when you line up what we're supposed to be doing, it's safety, liquidity, and yield, really in that order. So we have to make sure these funds that could be used by the town for different needs are well protected, and then the ones that are off in the distance we can get a little more aggressive with, a little more equity exposure. I don't want to use the word aggressive. On page 3, that's, I'm not expecting anyone to be able to read this here or now. This is really what the pros in town hall use to see what happens for every fund. This is essentially what we can do, is have portfolios summed up rather than having a different portfolio for every trust fund you see. And that was kind of the case in a lot of places where we've gone through the state when we were starting to manage funds like that. We'd walk out with this high, literally, bank statements for every one of these accounts. So you put them together, and that way you've got economies of scale, and you can invest them to get greater growth than a bank statement would have done through time. So it's really used for the accounting purposes in their ledger for the finance department. So the account in question, we're talking about the trust funds, how are they? On page 4, this is the grouped version. You can see the value of all those funds together. $23 million went to the point, $23,170,514 at the end of the quarter. And we kind of just did it as more quarterly, as that's what we did on, I think, last time. You can see the allocation on that side, and we don't apologize, nor do we run around and cheer for short-term performances. We like when there's no dashes in front of them, which we see right there, the 3-month and the 1 year they aren't, but we don't really rest on our laurels, or do we, like I said, hang our head on shorter performance. What we want to make sure is through time, are we getting the returns that this portfolio should get without taking any undue risk? And you can see right through 5 and 6 handles, or 5 point somethings and high 5s and 6s throughout. with the returns since inception, we started this in June of '05, of 6.56 for kind of a moderate portfolio. So it has been able to grow through time and still pay off the needs of the town for those particular trusts.
Brian, is that return net of fees?
That is gross of fees.
Gross of fees. What do we have net of fees?
So I'd take, it's 29 basis points off of 1 year. It actually grows a little when you do the math. That it would be probably, 32 or 33 if we did it through time for inception.
So we're still in the sixes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Quick question.
Yes.
When you talk about these balanced and growth funds, is it similar to a consumer coming in and buying a balanced or growth fund, or are there specific stocks that you have to use when you're using municipal funds?
Yeah, for all but for these funds, as they're constituted, for all but the OPEB funds, there are mass statutes that we have to abide by. The OPEB fund is more, we could invest like, a 401k or someone's IRA, something that's more compatible, but it's certainly we have the full line of investments under that.
And second question, talked about fees. For these funds that we do take things out annually or on a regular basis, are there fees for taking the money out?
No, there's no fees.
Transaction fees?
Yeah, there's no fees for for a transaction, for calling us up and doing it. There's no fee for moving it to the bank, and then the bank to disbursement. Yeah, there's no extra fee involved.
Thank you. You can continue.
Go right ahead.
That sounds good. So I think as I did this last time, well, we put the annual returns. What we do like to show people, and this is why we're balanced, the page behind it, and when I say for you guys, the top line is the bottom line, meaning you can see it's right in front of you and bolded. It's just to show annually what this portfolio has experienced. So you can see to get a 6.5% portfolio, you don't see many sixes, or there's only really 1 7 on a calendar year. It really moves around a good bit to get to there. So that's what we realize, that as you move up the risk, you have to be comfortable getting the risk exposure and what happens, the volatility that's aligned with that. So that's why these portfolios are in a position that even when the markets are bad, we want to be able to still meet our goals. And so that's that safety, liquidity, yield ringing through, that we're not taking any excess chances, or what we said. Everything we add to the portfolio, we want to make sure that it pays for itself in return before it adds any risk. And then it's just really similar because this is almost the kind of exact same type of holdings for the health trust. It's just more fixed income. So this is even a safer portfolio than the balanced portfolio. This is the one I referred to kind of as the sleep at night. You can see from inception, and the inceptions are slightly different. Well, not so, are different, but even if you look at the 10-year return, you go from kind of the sixes to the fours, and that's just a matter of having more stock in the portfolio over time. So it's about 2%. You can see the difference between having an extra 25, 30% equity in there. You get 2% annualized through time. That's for the reason that when you need money from a trust fund, it's a lot different than when you need money from a healthcare trust reserve. And that'll be the same, even more so as the conservation trust ages. That fund has even less equity in it than, that's only as a sliver, just really not as much to get the equity return as to offset fixed income risk, which people don't really think of there was any until 2022 came, right? And all interest rates up, and when all the bonds went the other way, we figured, people realized there were. We've obviously known that all along, and that's why we want a little sliver. 100% of anything is always more risky than having a little bit of a lot of different things in the portfolio.
Brian, on the health trust,
Yes.
Since we use this number in part to set our rates for our employees, and I realize that that's an important number to sleep at night, as you say, is there any opportunity to explore something in the way of greater equities here, to the extent that, every year we go through the exercise of setting rates, and every year everybody's disappointed, including us, because the healthcare costs are just in the stratosphere. And it's not like, we do it 1 year and then it flattens. It just continues to rise like a hockey stick chart. And, 485 isn't bad. It's very respectable, especially for something where we need the liquidity. But given that we continue to see, at least in my time on the board, just this incredible pressure on municipal health care, I think I know the answer, but I'd press you guys to maybe see if there's more opportunity. Well, press them through Mary. And Mary, I see the look.
Yeah.
But I think this is a place where we may need to put a magnifying glass to see if even a quarter of a point somewhere is going to make a difference to the employees and to the town, and therefore to the taxpayers. So I'm not criticizing what you've done here. I think there's potentially opportunity for a bit more gain that would in turn relieve a little bit of pressure for the folks who actually do the hard work of setting the rates and trying to balance all the other chess pieces that make up the underlying cost.
Heard and happy to have the discussions. We manage a number of these. Some actually are to where almost the trust funds are balanced, and some are here, and some are even more conservative. It really kind of, you start going to probability weight your chances of accessing these funds, and then you have to probability weight or try to analyze to what extent you would touch the funds.
Sure.
So if it would be to the point of, yep, we could use these at times, but kind of like a trust fund, maybe we take maybe 5 or 10% out or something like that, or something less than a quarter of it.
Yep.
Then you say, you know what, we can be balanced because you can take that out. You have enough bond stock, you can offset it as long as we know if the stocks were really down or the bonds really were. We'd have to hold on maybe a little out of line till that piece came back. And then if you just need it at any time, you can rebalance. But you have to realize that if you go and change the allocation, and I could show a lot of analytical graphs, everything. My one I like to talk most is the Murphys will show up right when you change it, meaning the markets will go poorly and you'll need funds.
Yeah.
So that's something you really have to calculate or do scenario analysis, if you will. But happy to be in those discussions because we do see people use them. And right now we are seeing the people that, actually, I'll add that note since I went down that road. Some of the people that were more aggressive are now de-risking because of what they're seeing with their potential healthcare costs.
Sure.
That they think their reserve might be getting hit. So I would say the premise is really good. I'm not sure the timing is for that, because if this might be about as hoping. Is this real, Wood?
I think so.
that this is as tough as healthcare situation we're going to be in for now and the next couple of years, and we're all hoping it normalizes.
We thought that last year and the year before too. So.
Yes. Across the board now.
Yeah,
With
that's
municipalities
fine.
and
I don't
stuff.
mean to belabor we'll put a pin in
Yeah,
that, but that's just something I'd like to highlight.
It's a great point to
going
have
forward.
discussions.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And same thing, you can see that the annual returns on that page on 7, they don't move down around as much because we don't have the same volatility. Whereas the OPEB that we saw, that one is there for longer term growth, and it's not as much today's really about the trust funds. That's about building it, and so we have the returns here. They're higher returns obviously because they have more equity. The annual returns show that as well. You have more susceptible to a negative year and more susceptible to a double-digit growth year. So you get both. It is the volatility that you have with risk return. And when I go to page 9, the town has done a great job lining up the OPEB steps. We're trying to be on touch with everything, and that's kudos to the finance department for doing that, making sure that they have what they need in place. And then the key part is there, and then we have enough in front of us on the agenda today. I don't want to bring this up, but funding the OPEB is important. I know a lot of people say, yeah, when the pension's done, or we'll figure out there, but it is, S&P and Moody's are thinking about it more. And I will say that we can go into all the plans, the construction of the trust and how it works more so another time, but it's all about getting the funding up, getting that balance to where you get full recognition of the funds you put in and the long-term expected return of those, and that will bring that discount, the liability down, and that will help the whole process going through and through.
Yep.
So I just kind of summed up the next couple pages with those talks. And we work in concert all the time with the actuaries. And that's another pat on the back, if you will, to the finance department to say, hey, rather than you guys coming in and then the Rockland Trust coming in, and why don't we have everybody speaking? And so that way we're all moving or pulling the wagon forward most efficiently as possible.
Okay.
The pages behind those are really just if anyone had economic questions, et cetera, about which I know I think I used that as a good parting way last time because we had gone a long time, but I'm happy to put it this way. I'm happy to talk about anything or speak to anything at the same time. I know that there's a room full of people here that really probably don't want me to hear me.
I appreciate that, Brian. Just a comment, right? I really like the table here on page 23, right?
Yep.
So you look at the, just a interesting factoid here. The S&P 500 top 10 names, right? 1980, IBM, AT&T, Exxon, Standard Oil, Indiana. What the hell is that? Schlumberger, Shell Oil, Mobil, Standard Oil of California, Atlantic Richfield, I used to work for. General Electric, 1980, right? Heavy and Oil, and AT&T. And then today, current NVIDIA, Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon, Broadcom, Meta Platforms, Tesla, and then Berkshire Hathaway and Lilly and Co. Really highly focused on technology, right? So oil to technology, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, the two things
Amazing.
that you took me to that page, I will add also for the
Yeah.
crowd, and just in thought, so many people say, well, I might have a portfolio issue. We have an index issue right now. Is the two things to note
Right.
is that total. If you go along the average of that total,
Yeah.
and this is 331 when the market was down. It's been up in April as well. Those top three names now,
Yeah.
essentially, in at December 31st as well, were essentially in line with the average of the top 10 for decades prior.
Right.
So, and then on top of that, we're we're probably close to 40% again, and to end the year, we were 40% of the S&P.
Yeah.
So 500 stocks on the top of the market, 10 of them are 40% of the market capitalization. So
It's amazing.
you picked a good
Kinda
chart to
frightening.
talk about. Thank you. He's not a plant either. That's my favorite chart.
Yes. Oh, Amy, yes, sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, Amy.
Oh, don't be sorry, thank you. I find this really helpful and enlightening, and I thank Rockland Trust for all their hard work. It would be really helpful, I think, to our residents who are following along if we could be showing the slide deck while we're having this discussion. I'm able to follow it along because I have the information, but for the people who aren't board members, it's really hard to understand this discussion if you don't have the slides and the information that's being referenced.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think, Amy, you raised the point, and I think we just need to get better at it, is getting this information out beforehand such that it is available for folks to see and follow. So that's
I'm
good.
happy-
Yeah, or during the meeting, if
Would
we
you-
could, if they
Yeah.
could show the slide deck, as we sometimes do, but yeah.
Yeah.
So-
We will make note of
That
that
would be really
for
helpful in the
future
future,
presentations.
but
Thank you. Sure.
Mary, is
Yeah.
this going to be available on the Finance Department webpage?
We can
Or
make
some
it
version
available.
of
I
this.
just have to flip through and make sure there's no bank account numbers in here and
Right.
redact any specific information.
Okay.
All right.
So we can put a version out there for the public to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Or on our minutes or something like
Yeah,
that?
absolutely.
I appreciate it.
If I
Absolutely.
could just make a comment for
Yeah.
anybody, just for anybody who's wondering why we're even going through this process and talking about this, it is all the town's money, and we could just leave it in a bank account, and you know what your own bank account gets, and we're talking about many millions of dollars. So in an effort to increase the town's returns on the money that you've already paid through taxes in some way, or fees, or what have you, the state allows us to invest the money, but it ties our hands as to what those investments can be. So you heard us talk about the legal list. It's an actual list that the state puts out that says you may invest in the following, you may not invest in the following. So we have some constraints, which is why, thank God, we're not in crypto, we're not in any of that stuff. It's very safe, but because it's safe, it also caps our equity exposure. The good side. So we're talking about 5, 6, and you're saying, well, my retirement's making 8, 9, 10. That's because you're not handcuffed the way the town is. So whether that's good, bad, we'll see. But that's why we go through this once a year, is to make sure that we as a board understand where we're positioned financially on these accounts, and to potentially push in a friendly way, Rockland Trust maybe to look at some things from a different perspective. But overall, Brian, you and the team, I think, have done a great job, given the constraints that we have. From the legal list, this is a pretty, pretty healthy return at a municipal level, and I appreciate your hard work.
Thank you, and thank you for your time, everyone.
Well said. Thank you very much.
Great, good context, useful context, Brian. So thank you very much. And thank you, Brian, David, and Heidi, for your hard work
Marty.
in support of the town.
And Mary and her team.
And Mary.
Yeah.
Yes, and I would just, on behalf of the treasurer and myself, I'd just like to thank you all for your partnership. We meet with Rockland Trust more frequently than once a
Right.
year, but we do bring them before the board here so that you have an opportunity to hear directly from our partners. So again, thank you very much for taking great care of us.
Any questions from
The public or
from the
committees?
public?
Okay.
All right, hearing none. Thank you, once again, thank you very much. Much
you.
appreciated. All right,
Excellent. Thank you.
next item on the agenda Yeah.
Small betterments.
is a discussion and vote pertaining to seawall betterments, presented by Mary, Scott Timilty, Corey Linden, and Mr. Blake. Is it, who's on?
Is Sharon and Jeff on? Are they in the panel?
They might be in there.
Pat, is Pat here?
Yeah.
Oh,
It'll be
yeah,
just-
could you promote Jeff Blake, please? And is Sharon Everett in there as well?
It'll be just Jeff, probably,
Okay.
I think.
We have slides for this, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, so let me see if I can
Oh,
project.
there's Jeff, great. Excellent, it's Mary, over
Yep.
to you.
I am just calling up a slide deck. One
Okay.
second. Jeff Blake is from KP Law from our town council, and
Yeah,
he's
town
joining us this
council, yeah.
evening, yes. All right, there we go. Okay. So I did email out some
Yes.
information to the board. There were some changes later this afternoon, so we're going to go through those as we talk about the seawall betterments. To just get started, I thought I'd include a couple of photos. And I should stop, before I get started, let me say that we do have our assessor and our treasurer, our DPW director, town council, as well as, I believe Pat Brennan is behind the corner here.
All right.
Is the OPM on the seawall project. And so I've included a couple of photos here. The first two on the left-hand side are just sort of a before snapshot, and then some photos of progress during and upon completion of the seawall. And if you have not been down there, we have a beautiful new seawall that now adorns Duxbury Beach. So tonight's objective is that we need to talk about the order of betterments and review and potentially approve an order of betterments relative to the seawall project costs. The process for assessing betterments is defined in the IGR, the Informational Guideline Release that is issued by the Division of Local Services, IGR number 2021-1. Tonight, we're going to just talk about the timeline that we have incurred so far and what the remainder of the process looks like. And then we're going to talk about the map of the specific properties that have been bettered and the list of betterment assessments associated with those properties. So this is the informational guideline release. The Division of Local Services promulgates the requirements by which a community has to follow in order for them to assess special assessments. And as we know, special assessments can take on a variety of forms. They could be sidewalk betterments, sewer betterments, and in this particular case, seawall betterments. All of the procedures and requirements are outlined in the IGR. So by way of timeline, the process officially, if you will, began March 11th, 2023, when town meeting supported the appropriation for the seawall with a vote of 164 to 69. Now, we know that there was a lot of work that took place prior to March 11th, 2023, an awful lot.
I was going to say, it is pretty good to me. Alicia, can you come up to the microphone, please? I mean, you were there as part of the seawall committee. When did the whole process start? The conversation
Yes,
start?
I'm going to go through some
Oh,
of
you
that,
are?
Fernando. I am, yeah.
Okay, all right then. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to note that this wasn't basically,
So
A lot
if we go back in our Wayback Machine.
Yes, please.
So we remember that there was a phase 1 to the seawall project,
Yeah.
and that took place, started back in 2018 after Winter Storm Riley. All of this took place well before I came to the town of Duxbury, but I've now come to know and love the process that you guys have experienced. So the town incurred some damages from Winter Storm Riley.
Yeah.
There was a project that took place to replace that portion of the seawall that was damaged. It was a fairly complicated process because there were some FEMA reimbursements involved. And
Right.
so what ultimately ended up happening is that the town assessed betterments, but then had to, through special legislation, rescind those and reassess betterments once the FEMA reimbursements were applied.
Right.
So there has been precedent set with respect to the seawall with Phase 1. And at the time that Phase 1 was undertaken, there was an algorithm that was defined on how those assessments were to be made. In each of the affected properties in that particular area that were bettered by the seawall were assigned a tier or a category, tiers 1 through 4, based on their proximity to the seawall and then stepping back in terms of where they landed on the map. So that was Phase 1. And then with respect to Phase 2, there was an awful lot of work, a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings and discussions about whether the town was going to undertake a second phase to a seawall construction project. So remember that these are not repair projects. The existing wall was completely removed, and these were new construction projects using new material technologies, using new design standards, and providing a new improvement to that area. So the methodology that was outlined in Phase 1 is the same methodology that we are going to be talking about here tonight with respect to Phase 2. But there was a lot of discussion. There were a lot of select board meetings where this was a topic of conversation, and I'm going to reference a couple of those in a moment in order to address sort of some of the concerns that we've heard over the last couple of months with respect to the seawall. But with respect to Phase 2, the first official action or event that triggered the start of this process was the ultimate appropriation approval of town meeting.
Yep.
So an awful lot of work, as I said, went into it. It culminated on March 11th, 2023, where there was a lengthy and robust discussion at town meeting, which I've gone back and watched, in order to advocate for this project and ultimately for the town to support advancing this project. It was proposed as a Proposition 2.5 debt exclusion, so that made it even more complicated because, a debt exclusion requires a second level of approval on the project. The town took that ballot vote on 14 days later, on March 25th, 2023, and the result of that townwide ballot was 776 in favor to 728 against. So the town was able to achieve both levels of approval that was required in order to undertake this construction project. On November 18th of 2024, the town then went before town meeting because at that time we had gone out to bid for the project, and we recognized that we had favorable results on our bid construction costs, and we were able to rescind the borrowing authorization, or essentially the credit limit of the project, from $20 million down to $15 million. So we rescinded $5 million off of the borrowing authorization. So it was another opportunity where the town was again talking about the seawall project. Subsequent to that, the town, and great thanks to Candace Martin, had put together a lot of information and applied for a grant, a CCM grant. We were successfully awarded a $3 million grant to offset the cost of construction for this project, which has been applied and taken into consideration tonight when we look at the overall project cost. So Candace, thank you very much for all of your efforts on that. It was a great win. So then construction started in May of 2023 and was substantially complete in December of 2025. We began the process of organizing betterments and all of the affected properties. We've met internally with our team in conjunction with Pat Brennan, our OPM, and prepared the information that we're about to talk through this evening. So tonight we are at June 1st, where we are starting the conversation to approve the order of betterments. Once we achieve that step, we will, I skipped over on May 12th and May 18th, we did have some meetings here in Town Hall with members of the Seawall Committee, and we'll talk about the details of those. June 1st, we are here to begin the conversation about approving the order of betterments. That order needs to be recorded with the registry by June 15th. Subsequent to that, the town, the treasurer collector's office will issue letters to all of the affected property owners. The letters will contain a description of the betterment and payment options for a homeowner to choose. There are three methods to consider. The first is that a homeowner may pay the betterment in full and not incur the committed interest charges that go along with the betterment. A homeowner may put down a down payment or partially pay their betterment and amortize the remainder over 20 years, or they may choose to amortize the full amount of the betterment over 20 years. And the way that works is that 1/20th of the amount due to the town will be added to a third quarter real estate bill. So the bills that get issued in January, quarters 3 and quarters 4 will have that betterment split over those 2 quarters evenly. So the property owners will receive those letters on or about September 1st, and then they have 30 days to respond back to the town with their desired payment method. If they do not return the letters, the default per statute is that the full amount is amortized over 20 years on the real estate tax bill. Okay? And then the tax bill process will start. So by December 1st, the Board of Assessors will commit the betterments to the tax collector, and the tax collector will run their procedures in order to assign those betterments to the Q3 and Q4 tax bills of beginning in January of 2027. So,
Gary, a question for you.
Sure, fire away.
On that schedule, since we already know what the numbers are going to be, is there a reason why we need to wait until September 1st for letters to go out? And the reason I ask is if a homeowner, for example, wants to finance it privately and needs time to go to the bank, it may take more than 30 days. Potentially I'm trying to make sure we're giving homeowners
Yep, so the
as many
homeowners-
options as possible.
So we have provided preliminary information to the Seawall Committee members who have indicated that they've shared that information out with the property owners. Our intent is to put the final betterment assessments on the town's website. In terms of the September 1 deadline, the collector's office, the treasurer's office, has to build all of the individual amortization schedules, the 20-year schedules that get attached to the letters, and that takes some time. So our hope is to have those out by September 1st with a 30-day turnaround time. The part of the issue is that we also want to make sure that the letters are aligned as closely with when the amounts are going to go on the tax bills as possible, because if a letter was sent out prematurely and the property changed hands, was conveyed, we want to make sure that the new owner is aware of that information. So the dollar amounts will be made known sooner, much sooner, but the letters won't be going out until September, because we need some time to build those schedules.
But won't the letters have the options in terms of what your, basically the finance charge is over that 20-year period?
It will.
Okay. But that's not something we can estimate in advance. I'm just,
We have to build those schedules, and that takes time, so we'll see how long that takes.
all right. I understand the work that needs to be done. It just seems that we're asking folks to turn things around pretty quickly on their end on a pretty serious matter. I know if I got a multi-$1,000 bill, and it said, all right, you have to choose in 30 days. If
Yeah,
I get
that-
more than 30 days, I'd appreciate that.
That's
So,
statutory.
That's okay.
So
But
the
that's
minute we send
Yeah.
the letter out,
Yeah.
that 30-day ticker starts.
All right, so we don't have
It's statutory.
flexibility
The date, they have 30 days from the date of the letter
to choose.
to choose.
That's by law.
Yes, it's in the statute, yeah. Okay. All right, so we have,
Hand up in the back.
If you have a question with regards to that, please come up to the microphone and state your name and address. Thanks, Brian.
So, 151 Granite Road, Duxbury, Angela and a couple. So what's the rate you're going to charge for the amortization?
3.6%.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So the town officials met with representatives from the seawall twice during the month of May, as I had shown in the timeline. And on May 18th, so we've had some robust conversations. And on May 18th, we received legal notice from Danahy and Osterberg on behalf of some Webster Island Beach and Tennis Association members, and that the development, or the letter that we received, which you are in possession of, indicated a couple of areas of concern or challenges to the betterment process. Number one, that the town cannot issue multiple betterments for the same project, and that the letter describes repairs as opposed to a reconstruction or new construction of a seawall. So I'm going to put a pin in that for right now. We do have Jeff Blake, who has joined us. I'd like to get through my slides first, and then we can open it up for conversation, and this will be certainly a topic that we want to touch upon.
All right.
One of the other things that was also discussed was semantics in terms of word choice, and whether the town may assess betterments or the town shall assess betterments. And so I went through some of the information that was available to me, whether it was select board minutes or newspaper articles, and not the least of which was the vote from town meeting within the specific article. And to be clear, the select board not only recommended a betterment of 25%, as you can see from a February 27, 2023 select board meeting. But on February 6th, there was also a lengthy discussion regarding the words shall versus may as it pertains to betterments. And the language was voted to stand, including the word shall.
Yep.
So it was pretty clear and this is the language of, This is the language of the article, where the article that was brought before town meeting, again on May 11th, 2023, included the terminology that the town shall assess betterments of 25% of the project costs.
Yeah.
So I think that has been made pretty clear that there was always the intent to assign the 25% betterments. Then again, there was ballot approval on March 25th, 2023, that took place, where the debt exclusion was approved. So with that being said, hang on a second. Here it is. Oh, I should have put this in a different order. With respect to the project cost, so the original appropriation approved at town meeting was $20 million. Again, based on the results of the bid, we were able to reduce that borrowing authorization by $5 million to have a net appropriation available of $15 million. Expenditures for the cost of construction and other services related to this project came in at $14.776 million. The town received that CZM, the Coastal Zone Management Grant Award, of $3 million, so that there are net total project costs of $11.7 million. The town has agreed to take on 75% of those costs at a total of $8.8 million. And what we are here talking about this evening is the remaining 25% of that net project cost to be assessed in the form of betterments at $2.9 million. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, great.
I don't have any. My other board members?
No.
Amy? No. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So the way that the town approached this Phase 2 Betterments project was to use the same methodology that was available in Phase 1. Down in the lower right-hand corner of this slide, you'll see the tiers and their allocated percentage share.
Mayor, if I can just note, the little TV screens here are cutting off the slide, so it's hard to see
Yep, let's see.
here in the room.
Ashley, can we minimize that?
Legend.
The only problem is that we won't be able, Amy, we've minimized the other participants, so if you have your hand up, Amy, we're not going to see it. If you can just jump in.
I will, thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, so what happened was, this is a map of all of the affected properties that sit behind the seawall and benefit from this improvement. And these are the tiers and their cost shares, which is again consistent with the formula that was approved in Phase 1. So this map is really hard to see, obviously. I did email the board a copy. We do have some hard copies here if there's any specific questions. And I can call up a map if we want to drill in and take a look at any specific property.
Can I just ask on the methodology, who came up with it, and was there a distance, or was there a back and forth with the seawall committee, or was this just done?
I can, want me to help with that?
Sure.
That goes back about 4 or 5 years ago, when John Adams, myself, members of the seawall committee, members of the board, and town council figured out how we were going to assess the betterments based on the tier structure you
right.
see.
To the right.
Yeah, to the right, the first phase, not, and then it was applied to the second phase. With, as you see, the cost share being there. The tier 1 were the folks that were right on the water. Tier 2 were the folks that were directly behind them, and I'm referring specifically to the first phase. And then tier 3 would be the houses that were 3 houses back, and tier 4 would be the ones that were 4 houses back. That's it in very general terms.
Okay.
I remember we were in the meetings,
I
right?
do remember, and that's why I asked,
Yeah.
because I remember, I believe at first, when
Yeah.
we did Phase 1, there
Right.
were some houses on the other side of the street that were assessed, and we decided to
Correct.
bring it back.
Bring it
But I
back,
just
yeah.
didn't know how we applied it to the rest of the wall, which is very different than the neighborhood that was up by Phase 1.
Correct.
And I was just wondering how we came up with the distance and which houses
The
would be
distance is
blue
roughly
and-
400, on average, it's roughly 400 feet back,
Okay,
440 feet back from the edge of the seawall.
okay.
Okay. So you can see that each affected property was categorized into a tier. It's very hard to see on that wall, but there are color variations, tier 1 being yellow, tier 2 being orange. Let me see if I can call up a map for the folks in the room to be able to see better.
If it's helpful, we do have hard copies of, do you want one like in the back, or does anybody want to look at one? They're really big, but a bit awkward. But
They're up
you're-
there, too,
You're
so-
more than welcome. We can zoom in on specific properties as well. Yeah.
Do you want one?
Yeah, I don't know if this made a difference in terms of color, being able to see the color on the wall. Let me spin this around the other way.
The lighting's just tough, Mary.
Is it lighting
Yep.
issues?
Yeah.
Okay. So the section here where there is no color coding, that was the Phase 1 seawall project, but located to the south of Phase 1 are these properties over here in their respective tiers. Let me try to zoom in.
Thank you. Anybody that wants one.
And so the properties that are immediately adjacent to the seawall are Tier 1 or yellow-coded properties. Sitting behind them are Tier 2 or orange-coded properties. Sitting behind them are Tier 3 or green. And sitting behind them are Tier 4 in blue. Tier 1, the algorithm that was used is based on frontage because those properties
Right.
are adjacent to the seawall. The calculation methodology used frontage for those parcels. For the remaining tiers 2, 3, and 4, they used a percent cost share, and it was allocated in a fixed manner across the parcels that make up that tier. So we have parcels to the south of Phase 1, and then if I slide all the way over here, we have parcels to the north of Phase 1.
Yeah.
Okay? And there is a break in the seawall that is right in this vicinity. So in my slide deck where I have those 2 blue blocks, those are indicating the breaks in the seawall, either Phase 1 or the break in the seawall.
Yeah.
Okay? So, let me flip back over to, oops. I gotta share this. It's not very nimble when you're on Zoom. Let's try that. There we go, okay.
This has
Yeah.
been shown like 50 times
Okay.
over the course of the last year.
We're gonna show it for the 51st time to make sure that everybody understands.
At the
Everybody in the
majority of the meetings about this, it's been shown a number of times.
The private meetings, you're saying?
No, in the.
No, the previous board meetings when we did the betterments the
There
first time.
shouldn't be
Okay.
new information, that
I
was my
understand.
point. I was being snarky, but there shouldn't be new information as to where these properties are.
Okay.
All right, so again, this was the assessment methodology, and it looked specifically at allocating the total cost share. So in this case, it was the net total cost, and each tier is responsible for this fixed percentage. And again, based on frontage for Tier 1 and based on a fixed number of parcels in Tiers 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to flip over and take a look at the calculation spreadsheet. This is an excerpt from it, and you have all received it electronically. Rainy's going to hand out hard copies for you. There were 3 changes that were made between the time you received a copy on Friday and the version that's being
saw your
handed out
email.
tonight, and I will go through those.
Those are the same as those. If anybody needs one. Yes, ma'am. Yes, they are.
No, they are not.
Oh, they're
No,
not?
no, Kathleen, they are not.
Okay, thank you.
Right
No, there's,
there.
yeah.
Amy
I'm
doesn't
going to
have
call
a-
it up. She does, I emailed it to her.
Good, thank you.
Okay. Okay, well, let's share this version of my screen. I think that's it. We only made about 10.
If you'd like, I don't mind sharing with someone.
You're welcome.
Okay. So in this workbook that you're looking at, you'll see that the properties are broken down by tier. The calculation for the first group, so on pages 1, 2, and I believe 3 is what we consider Tier 1. There are 47 properties that make up Tier 1.
I don't believe
No,
those
those are not the same. There are 47 properties that make up Tier 1. 70% of the total project cost comes out to $2.06 million. So $2.06 million is allocated across these 47 properties based on their proportional share of frontage. You see how that calculation works? Okay. All right, fantastic. There are 3 properties on this workbook that you're looking at in front of you that we are going to talk about because those are the 3 changes from the version that was sent out Friday to the version that is in your hands today. In Tier 1, there are 2 parcels, 137901-138 and 137901-038. This property is owned by a Mr. and Mrs. Najarian. And upon closer investigation, when we took a look at the recorded easements, which I have a copy of up here if you want to see it, when we took a look at the recorded easements, it became clear to note that that particular parcel was not situated behind the seawall and therefore should not have been included. Okay? So this version that you have in your hands has that parcel excluded. Any questions on that?
So what, was it just?
Nigerian, 901-138 and 901-038.
Mary, can you explain that a little bit
It-
more? Why,
Yep.
why aren't they, can you just explain?
I'm going to call up a map and have you take it'll be much easier to see. Give me 1 second.
Property had 0 on the original,
It did. Okay.
so that wasn't a change, right?
So if we look at this particular recorded easement, let me zoom in as close as I can get. Oop, hang on. I need page 3. There it is. Okay. So can you see this picture up on the screen? Okay.
Yes.
This hashed line down here to the bottom of the page, that is the seawall. And when you look here at where the seawall ends,
Right.
whoop, this is property 901-138, and behind it is 901-038. If you draw this line from the edge of the seawall all the way back, whoop,
Get it.
that parcel is not, and structures are not included, this is not drawn to scale, but they are not included or behind the seawall to benefit from the installation of the seawall.
Thank you.
Sure. So, yep,
So you've excluded
Hey, can you,
the Nigerians.
Please, if you don't mind, sorry.
Sorry, Candace Martin, 59 Granite Road. So there's 2 properties that are in that area, so the Nigerians and the Reardons are removed?
no, if we look right here, oops.
Down here.
Yep, and they are further to the right, so the seawall is right there.
This property right here is behind the Nigerians, so that should be excluded also.
It is situated further to the right, and so if you drew a straight line from where the seawall is, not looking at the angle of the properties, right? You have to draw the straight line from the seawall straight back. And so that particular parcel is shifted to the right and included in the improvement area of the seawall.
Just so I'm clear, Mary, there were 2 Nigerian properties. The original spreadsheet had one of them excluded and the other one included. This revised one excludes both. So
That's
there's
correct.
only change to one of the Nigerian properties, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's not 2 changes here. Just want to make sure I'm clear. So then, I presume the $27,000 that was intended for that was intended to be assessed to the Nigerian property is thrown back in and everything recalculated?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, so so let me flip back over to the allocation spreadsheet. Unfortunately, this doesn't flip. There we go. Okay, so that was the only change in Tier 1. So in Tier 2, these parcels represent 17% of the total project cost. 17% comes out to $500,516.82. There are 28 properties that make up this tier for a total assessment per property of $17,875.60. If it were to be amortized over the 20-year amortization period, that would be an additional $893.78 in committed principal on a real estate tax bill. There were 2 parcels in Tier 2 that were modified from the version that you saw on Friday. When we took a look at the 2 properties, the first one is highlighted in teal, and the second one is highlighted in blue in the color-coded sheets that the Select Board have. When you look at those parcels, they are both vacant parcels that are undevelopable. There are no structures on those parcels, and their value is $600 and $8,000 respectively. So they have been excluded from the $17,000 betterment because the improvement, they are not developable. There is no protection of a structure on those properties. And the value of the betterment is not proportionate to the value of the property at $600.
Just a clarification then. So that's undevelopable land for infinity?
Correct. Based on
May I
zoning.
ask,
Yes.
may I ask a question on this one? Just because we all know things happen, bylaws change, you know, with 40B, anything can happen. In the event that these undevelopable properties somehow, through whatever mechanism, became developable, is there an ability to go back and assess betterments?
The answer for this particular project, the answer would be no. So we're recording the order of betterments, and we are allocating the total project costs. So there would be no additional total project cost to be allocated to these properties. But I will take this opportunity to say that the Select Board is the assessing authority in this situation. So we are bringing forward to you the recommendation that is using the methodology that was previously adopted. But if there is something that the Select Board chooses to impart or discuss with us, then we would be happy to have those conversations. But Amy, you're right. I won't say that, you know, nothing is forever, but it is highly unlikely, given the size of these lots, that the town would allow development on these tiny lots. I think, I don't have it in front of me, but it's like 0.1 acre and 0.07, something along those lines.
0.1 acres and
On the map,
Yeah.
if you
Whereabouts
look
in
at
the
the
map?
map, it'll tell you the acreage on there.
Whereabouts is it?
I'll show you.
If you don't mind.
So they're both
If you're
less than a
holding your
quarter
map
acre.
this way,
Holding up.
it's these 2 stickies right here.
You're holding the map that way.
You want to hold it this way?
Wait. Oh, now you're really confusing me. All right.
That one and that one.
That one and that one.
Yep, so that's north, that's
Yeah,
Marshfield,
got it.
and this is south.
But they look pretty
I'm
big, though.
pointing to these 2 stickies right here.
They look pretty big.
Could you tell us what house numbers those are across from?
I can, sure. For those 2 properties that we're talking about? The first one is they're both listed as 0 Gurnett Road.
I think every property in Duxbury isn't buildable. I know Geraldine has one. I just think 0 is a default.
Okay, that's why I gave parcel IDs, yeah.
Is there a real house across from it though, as a number, so that we have to put a bearing on it?
A house across from it.
A real house. 0 means nothing's up.
If you look at the book number there, that's what you would look up on the assessor's.
Did I jump in?
So one of them is Picarillo.
That's me.
Oh, that's you. Okay, there you go. And
So
the
on
other
the
one
list-
is the one that is right next to you.
Okay, so on the list that I got from Alicia.
Gotta be at the
it says
mic.
that
Gotta get to the
5,000
mic.
square foot lot is assessed $17,000.
And that is what one of the 3 changes that I'm highlighting right now.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble. Mr. Picarillo, did he say that that subject property is next door to him?
It's across the street.
It's across the street. He owns a larger parcel that is situated across the street from this one. This one here is residual land that is vacant and undevelopable. So in the first iteration of the calculations, it was included. It is now excluded.
And could I ask Jeff, did that not merge under the doctrine of merger because of the street in between the parcels?
I haven't been asked, I'd have to take a look at it, Amy. If there is an intervening street, typically those parcels don't merge under zoning.
And there is.
It's Gurnett Road, right?
So because of the street, they didn't merge under the doctrine. Interesting. Okay, I'm uncomfortable just knowing zoning and knowing that things can change and tying our hands at never being able to go back and assess the betterments should the status of these lots change.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go through just the remaining two tiers, and
Can
then.
you ask a question or no?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right,
You wanna-
I've been
what's the
saying I
question?
didn't want to interrupt,
No,
but
no,
I
go-
don't know what the
and you,
process
again, just
is.
repeat your name, because
Okay.
it's not for us, it's for
Right.
people.
Okay, so
What-
Geraldine McShane,
Yep.
116 Granite Road. I have a couple of questions. You were talking about Tier 1 and the 70%, right?
Yep.
Can someone explain who came up with the 70% and why? I don't understand that. First of all, that's my first question.
Okay?
Yeah, sure.
The methodology was, when the seawall was reconstructed, those were the houses that were going to benefit the most by having the seawall rebuilt. So they paid the greatest amount.
So those houses on the wall
Uh-huh.
we're going to benefit. Okay. Okay, so I have two questions. I live at 116 Garnet Road, and on the map, I live across the street from the wall. On the map, you put my house as yellow. And I don't understand that. That's my question number one, because it seems like the calculation would be incorrect. And then my question number two is, if I don't have a house, then it shouldn't be at 70%. Because you're not protecting me. I didn't vote for the seawall. My husband and I did not vote for the seawall. It wasn't benefiting us. So whatever, it is what it is. It got built, let's move on. Okay. I'm moving on, but I don't want to be penalized with a 70% when I don't have a house. We didn't need the seawall. We didn't want the seawall. The water's coming over. It's going down to Garnet Road. Okay. So what's my benefit? It's not. So I don't think I should be
Yep.
hit 70% on that, and then 70% because I'm across the street from it.
So
We're going to pull it up on the
we're going
map.
to show, so I will show you with respect to
Something's not
yours.
right.
And nope, so if you look right here, before I call up the map, I want to explain something. There were a couple of parcels that had this situation where they are two parcels on the same deed. And the deed history indicated that those parcels were companion parcels. And so for the calculation purposes, they were combined here. And if you look at this second one, it is not getting a separate assessment. There's an assessment only on the one parcel. So let's
Which
call.
is 70%.
It is.
That's crazy. There's no house there, and there's a street. I get two separate tax bills. Like, let's be
So we'll call up
Open here.
901011.
There's no house, it's not protecting me. The 70% is to protect the houses. We have no house. So it should be at a very lower rate, if anything.
Okay, so it is this one here.
901011.
Yep.
Yeah, I got it.
And I don't know what this,
Yep, right
don't
here.
merge because of the doctrine, but if the other rule is for
So-
that house, it should apply to this as well.
Well, that's why it's yellow, because they're merged, right?
A lot of
901.
crazy stuff going on here.
I just want to get your parcel IDs. Bear with
Yeah.
me for 1 second.
Yeah, I've got it.
And that's why I wish we had a lot more time to look at this stuff. We got this stuff at 9:30 last night. I opened my email, and that was so unfair to us, to give us no notice of this. I've had a headache all day trying to figure this out. There
So-
should have been a lot more notice.
These are your two parcels, 901-011 and 901-026. They were combined for the purpose of the betterment, and the calculation was based on frontage. Otherwise, you would have had a parcel in Tier 1 and a parcel in Tier 2. Knowing that there was not a structure on that was a beach lot, but it is adjacent to the seawall and therefore provides the biggest benefit. The calculation was to combine those and calculate based on the frontage of this property here.
Biggest benefit, I have no house. So use biggest benefit. I don't know if that's a legal term, but that's not right. I don't get a benefit. The water comes over. It goes on Garnet Road. The marsh is our issue, not the ocean. So we should not be penalized for not having a house there. We don't benefit. We don't benefit. The water can come.
But you do have a house. There is a house on the second parcel.
That's correct.
Albeit on the other side of Garnet Road.
Correct.
So you do have a home on one of
So
the
that's
two
tier
lots.
2, and that's tier 2.
Because she has frontage.
Well, it's tier 2 if there was a house on the other lot, it would be tier 2. But
Who made
where
that
that's a
rule? Where's that
vacant
rule?
Parcel that goes to the frontage of the
Oh,
seawall.
okay.
I understand that.
Fernando?
I understand
Fernando,
there is
we're
methodology
having multiple
here.
conversations, one person at a time, right? So Amy is speaking, so let her speak, please, and then you'll have a chance for a rebuttal. Also, Jeffrey Baker's raised his hand, so please, I understand that this is very
Yes.
emotional, can be upsetting, but please, let's just try and have a conversation. Let's hear everybody's points of view. So, Amy, please continue.
I'm just understanding the reason there is a home. The home happens to be on the behind the vacant lot in line with the tier 2. And I would agree that it would be a tier 2 if there was a house on the vacant lot that was more adjacent. But where it's a common ownership, I think that, for me, that's the fairest way to assess this. I don't know how you could assess it any more fairly than what has been done here. That's my comment.
Good. Thank you, Amy. If you don't mind, can I let town council speak, please? Jeff, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to let everybody know, and especially the board, that these kind of individual questions and comments, there is a process to request an abatement of or a reduction of your betterment after it has been assessed. And I think if you look at Chapter 80, the process necessarily understands that a betterment assessment is going to be a fairly broad assessment, and there may be individual circumstances for individual properties that might give rise to reducing the assessment. And as a result, there is the ability to request an abatement of the betterment, lower it to the assessing authority. So her concerns being so individualized, it might be better taken up during that period. But I just wanted to let you know and her know that you don't have to make a determination on that right now.
Can I speak to that?
Phil?
Yeah.
And Jeff, you're absolutely right. There is an abatement process, and I appreciate you highlighting that. However, I would like to have an opportunity to go through and make sure that the board has all of the information they need to sign off on the assessments. Because anything that does get abated later down in the process will hit the town's overlay. And that is a budgetary item, and we want to make sure that we are minimizing the impact to the town's overlay.
Okay.
I understand the reasoning between the folks that just were up here, Mr. Picarella was up here. He has a non-developable land across the street, and wasn't added into the tier because he was across, his buildable, his home's on the other side. What's the difference between that and this woman that has no home on the land that's abutting the wall? And she's across Garnet Road.
So her home has direct access to the seawall.
Yeah, but so does the other gentleman's. But he's not assessed because his land across the street is not buildable and is only a small
And
amount.
hers is.
Her land is buildable.
Could I have that in writing? I'm very serious.
I'll object to that.
I am very serious.
Yeah.
It is buildable, right?
We'd have to, I
The lot.
I would,
Put that in writing.
at this
No,
point,
yeah. The,
we're going to pull the property card.
901-001.
Well, that needs to be cleared up.
That needs to be cleared up because the implications are, is that the house behind is getting a benefit. So the same argument, I mean, that Amy brought up, you can never say a plot is undevelopable for infinity, something may change, right? But you're saying at this moment in time, let me think through. Is that the same? The other one's not buildable, this is buildable, right? At this moment in time, that's buildable.
Along
We'd
the seawall.
have to look at the property card and have the, yeah.
Scott and I had that conversation with Jim Waza.
Wait, just 1 second, please. You will have a chance, no,
Well,
I assure you, you will have a chance to speak. Everybody will have a chance to speak. Can we just, the town manager's speaking right now. If you don't mind, we can let him speak.
This question came up in a conversation earlier today that I had with Scott Timmelty, our assessor, and Jim Wazalewski, our building commissioner, because he and I discuss these kind of things all the time in terms of what's a buildable lot. On its face, in the biblical sense, if it had 200 feet of frontage and it was 1 acre, it's buildable. Anything less than that is considered not. But as Jim pointed out to me, the determining factor to decide whether or not it was a buildable lot is what he would do is request from the applicant's attorney to present a case to him that says, hey, I've got this lot, it's less than 200 feet of frontage and it's less than 1 acre. I think it's buildable because of ABC. And what would happen then is that letter would then, he would receive it, and what would be the triggering effect would be that letter coupled with a building permit application, which would then be forwarded over to council for their advice so that they could opine as to whether or not it would be buildable. So to say it's buildable, nobody's going to say that. Nobody's going to make that
Do
commitment.
I have to hire an attorney?
Yeah. That's essentially what he was saying.
That's
essentially what he was
crazy.
saying.
But we're in this tough position now that if,
I should hire one by knowing
may I
about
just play this out, ma'am? So we're in this position now that if, whether through abatement or through an attorney, if she proves that her land is non-buildable, that she shouldn't be assessed the 70%, that gets dumped into the taxpayer's burden as opposed to along the seawall here. And that's the problem here because, with these 0.1 acres and things like that, we've made this determination that they're non-buildable and we're not going to assess them anything. Fine. But here we have someone that has a home across the street, just like those other folks. And I don't think
So I would,
the owner believes it's buildable.
so I would suggest that we take note of the properties in question, and we will have to do some research on some of them to come back with answers to whether it's buildable or not.
It's a big financial.
I'm sorry, can I just
course.
chime in
Amy.
here for a moment? I think that's a slippery slope, Mary. I do not want to be in the position of trying to decide for anyone what is developable and what is not developable. We all have seen parcels that shouldn't be developed get developed through some types of mechanisms, and I think that that's a slippery slope. I think it should be, perhaps, I think for our exercise, we need to look at it very objectively using the same methodologies that we have in the past so that we're consistent and we're fair. And if there is specific parcels that people believe they're there has been an error or that they are being taxed or bettered unfairly, then they go through a different process. But I don't think it should be up to us to ever try to decide for someone whether something's developable or not.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I want to weigh in on this. We need to apply these uniformly.
Right.
And the problem I have with this, we've just described how we, or the committee, or somebody, came up with yellow, orange, green, and blue. And now we're talking about, in the case of the McShanes, we're moving the yellow to a district that's orange. I think that's unfair, personally.
Thank you.
I understand the rationale behind it, but I think to apply this uniformly, yellow needs to be yellow, orange needs to be orange, and for the properties that have low value, if you take them off the rolls, what you're doing is putting another $1,300 on the other 27 people who are already paying. So I think we need to apply these uniformly, apply it the way that this map, well, not this map. The yellow, as I said, yellow goes with yellow, orange goes with orange. Let the chips fall where they may, and if there are a handful of instances where somebody needs to come to an abatement, for example, the two low-value properties, we can look at those as the case may be, but I think if we, at the assessing phase, or the assessment phase, are moving deck chairs around, I think we're setting ourselves up for some unforeseen difficulties going forward. And the more uniform and fair we can be in laying these things out now, the more appropriate I think our role is, and there is a mechanism for addressing, two of these that may come up for challenge later.
I only contest
Well,
on that as we have. Sorry,
can
go
I
ahead,
just-
Amy.
But I completely agree. Fairness and consistency is key here. But I believe then in the case of the lot that is not buildable, that there still needs to be an assessment, a betterment on that parcel, albeit as yellow. So the home lot that this resident owns would be in, if what I'm hearing Brian say, he believes it should be in the orange zone. But then an assessment or a betterment on the parcel that is in front of it, albeit not built upon, also would need to have some type of a betterment assessed as well, I believe, to be fair.
All right, so to be consistent, right, even though there's not a structure in there, it needs to be
Yes.
bettered at the 70%, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and then that lot that's behind, that's basically taken off, what we're all saying, but what I'm hearing, that those should be orange. So basically, all the lots should be orange, all the lots should be, whether they have a structure or not, should be charged a betterment,
I
right?
agree.
When you say all the lots should be orange, what are you referring
But
to?
basically
The
here.
second level back.
Second, so
Okay.
this lot should be orange, that lot should be orange,
And
and
that's
that
the
lot should
only-
be orange. So we're consistent with the application of,
So
of,
what we've actually, if we do that,
yep,
with respect to the McShane's property, that will actually harm them. And
McShane's property.
And so what happened with the McShane's property is recognizing that there are two lots that are adjacent to one another, front to back. We are not assessing a second betterment on that back lot, if you will. Despite that it's colored, so if you look at the orange band, and their property is yellow, but there's a hashed line that is drawn between the two.
Yeah,
So what we have done is we have assessed a Tier 1 betterment, a 70% allocation using the frontage, and that one betterment is to cover both of those properties. If we do what you're suggesting, then they will have an even higher betterment than what we're talking about here.
I'm pretty sure I saw it twice.
Can we,
And on
Mr.
this, you did, but on the second row, it was 0.
But you have now a chance to speak, please, yeah.
Again, Rocco
Your name
Piccirillo.
and- Yes.
Rocco Piccirillo, 123 Gurnett. Regarding Geraldine, her house,
I can't
to my
hear you.
knowledge, is not contiguous with the lots. There's a road that separates it. So her open space is next to my property at 123 Gurnett. So they're not contiguous properties. What I saw from Alicia last night, or this morning, showed 2 separate assessments for Geraldine. Same list that I saw on my 5,000 square foot unbuildable property for 17,000. In regards to fair, just my 2 cents, I think whether you have a house on the, that could be protected, that's what we're trying to save here, right, is the house, not the land.
Yep.
There's no house on Geraldine's property next to mine. There's no house on the property, on the 5,000 square feet across from mine, and I can't build on it. I bought it just to protect the value of our neighborhood because the guy spent a year before the board trying to build on it, and he was going to put a trailer on it. I don't think that's right for Duxbury. So I bought it. But no way do I want to pay $17,000 to protect marshland that's going to flood anyway. I can't do anything with it. But
Okay.
let's see. So having said that,
But
If-
so, your logic
I-
is basically the seawall was built to protect houses,
houses.
right?
So I believe, in order to be fair,
Yep.
there should be one assessment for properties with houses,
Yep.
one assessment for land, and possibly a third for land that, by Duxbury standards, my understanding is you have to have 40,000 square feet of lot to build a house. I don't believe Geraldine's property is 40,000 square feet, and I know mine isn't
Okay.
at 5,000. So I think we should look at what are we protecting and how is it assessed.
Okay, and that's a great point. Mike?
Just in the spirit of
Can I
the
ask
law.
one more question? I thought I was at all the seawall meetings. When was it decided that it would be a 70% split? Was it, and the real question is, was it before we were asked to vote on the wall, or was it after? Because when I bought my house, I asked my realtor, the seller's realtor, 2 questions, only 2. I knew I wanted this house. The only question that pertains here was, who owns this wall? Because my other neighbor's house, their wall was listing. And as I'm standing on this property, envisioning my grandkids on the beach, I looked at the wall and said, if theirs is going, mine is going. And this has got to be a $250,000 investment. So who's going to pay? Simple question. Who owns the wall? The answer she gave me was the town. Was that an accurate answer?
Yep,
Yeah.
it sure was.
So
Yes.
if it's accurate, the town is everybody.
Yeah. But
Why
by the
is
way,
it 70% me?
Sewer
we
betterment.
are-
And in the
I just-
process, sir,
Troy,
my
can I just
understanding is I
answer?
can't even build on the 15
Can I
feet closest
can I
to the
just
wall.
provide some context for you?
Sure.
Right. Thank you. And I want to bring Alicia Babcock in there because this whole seawall subject was going on and on and on. The select board would not make a decision. Kept on going on backwards and forwards for many, many years. And your residents get more and more, we're getting really concerned because the seawall was falling down. We had the big storm. And this board, the difficulty was basically who was going to pay for it. And at the end, the only way that the article was put together and presented to the residents of the town was that there was a betterment. Nobody was going to support the seawall at the town meeting, at the ballot box, without a betterment. That is the God-honest truth. So that is why we finally, this select board, finally voted to put it on an article, to put it before the town, because it's the town that decided. And you saw how close that
did.
vote was.
I did.
Very close. Because some people in Route 53 are saying, why should I pay for that seawall to protect your house? It's not protecting me.
I understand.
Why should I pay for it? And at the end of the day, I'm sorry, but that was the process that was followed. That's why it came up. That's why it was put in the article. And that's why it passed at the end. A lot of people didn't want to build this. They're saying, why? We're going to have to put sand in front of that seawall every 5 years And the residents are going to have to pay for it, everybody. That's required by law. All right, so please, let's not debate.
It was a question
Let's-
of,
okay.
did
you
I
have-
miss it at a
you-
meeting,
hopefully-
or was it put in
Right.
afterwards? I think the answer was, the board did what it needed to do to get the wall through. I'm appreciative. We've had 3 storms.
Right.
First 3 storms, I didn't have any damage. I'm appreciative of it. What I'm not appreciative of is losing 15 feet of my property, that I'm being told what I can do with it, what I can't do with it, nothing permanent. My view is gone. I see a Jersey barrier.
Well, the nice thing about
I'm
it,
happy
your
to
house,
pay
your house is there.
$117,000.
Your house will not fall into the sea.
But I can't see it anymore.
Well, I'm sorry. What, at the end of the day, I mean, this
Last
is...
question. Last question.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
The wall's up. As somebody said, it is what it is. Who's responsible for cleaning up the debris that was just, it's there? Metal rods, all kinds of stuff.
Quite-
Lots of dangerous things coming out
Construction
of the
debris?
ground.
Construction debris?
Yes,
Old
Yeah.
seawall.
yes.
Old seawall.
So
was
Sheila,
filled
do you
with
want to
rebar.
So the
take that?
question is-
Yeah,
They
it's,
did
we've
a
got,
great job.
And
They
I
did a
don't want to
great
get
job.
too off track from the betterments, but if we
Yeah,
could
they did
get
a
an
great
answer
job.
on the,
Yeah.
what's going to happen with the construction debris?
Yeah.
Sheila Scarzi, DPW Director.
Yeah.
Northern Construction, who constructed the seawall, has been cleaning up the debris as we've been receiving calls. So if anyone observes debris, if you could call the DPW office, we'll let Northern know and they'll clean it up.
Okay, everybody hear that? If you see debris, if there's still a debris in your property from construction, please get in touch with DPW, Sheila Skarsky, our director, and she'll direct Northern Construction to go up and clean it up. Can we just stick with the betterment conversation? Do you have a question about betterment?
I want to reiterate, I'm Helen
Ma'am,
Blanche from
I have a-
137 Gurnett Road. I want to reiterate that the only people benefiting, people that live on the wall are not the only ones benefiting from this new seawall. So it should not be 70% on us to do it. If our houses weren't there, everybody else would get flooded. The assessment is wrong. It's not fair, and we're being penalized for being there.
Okay,
And I have a lot, for example, that my house is larger and my house does not cover the lot, so I'm being assessed for a property that there's no house in front of. So it's not fair. It's
Okay.
absolutely not fair.
All
And
right.
it should be rechecked.
all right, thank you. Mike?
So I just wanted to get back to this McShane property. And we have counsel on here. I would appreciate a little guidance on somewhat of equity here. Somebody's made a change to the betterments for 2 other properties that had unbuildable lots across the street, closest to the seawall. They're now in the 2nd tier. How does, from a betterment legal standpoint, Mr. Blake, have you been following this discussion? Do you have any thoughts on how to deal with this McShane property?
I don't think Jeff has the map in front of him to see these parcels that are in question.
I saw it before,
Okay.
and what I'm going to say is that the assessments have to be just and equitable, and they cannot exceed the value of the special benefit. So if there is an argument to be made that the lot that sits back further is not getting the same benefit as a lot that's closer, then there may, I'm not saying there may be an equitable issue with it. But I think after reviewing, I remember reviewing phase 1,
No, I
and
didn't.
the formula that they came up with, in my opinion, was fair and equitable. And again, this goes back into the ability for an individual property owner. I don't think one anomaly in this or one issue on one property should torpedo the entire betterment assessment formula. That is why an abatement is there, because there will be those little circumstances where you're going to have to tweak it. And this very well may be that. I don't really want to necessarily opine right now without knowing all the facts, looking at the values, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, let me summarize then what I'm hearing, right, is Jeff, you saying
basically, there's two situations whereby there's a discussion here tonight, and there is a mechanism by which those two property owners can then challenge that abatement at a later date. But by the looks of it, the logic and the equity kind of holds consistent across the remaining. For want of a better word, the 80% or 90% of the properties we're treating in a fair and equitable manner, and they may be in these two properties the opportunity for a abatement process after this has been approved by the board and laid out. I think that's what I'm hearing. Amy,
That's
you have
exactly what I just said. Yep.
Okay, thank you. I'm just summarizing. Hey, Amy, you raised your hand.
Yes, I think we beat this dead horse a lot. I think what we need to do, again, is try to be as fair and true to what we've done before. And I understand, this whole conversation started, the changes that were made were because there were two small lots. And the small lots, the value of those, and as Jeff just pointed out, there's a problem with the betterment cost exceeding the value, so that would be an issue with those. But with the parcel, the orange versus yellow, I think that to me seems really clear in that you need to have the betterment on any parcel that has a home or a parcel in the front. So this particular person, and I understand what Mary's saying, in that by combining these and this big long conversation that we're having, it seems like they were trying to lessen the overall cost to that particular resident in town, and I appreciate that. But at this point, I think we need to assess. We need to assess the betterment on the front lot and assess the betterment on the back lot in the orange zone, because it is set back and in line with those orange zones. And then whatever happens in the future. But I think we just have to be really fair and consistent and not try to take individual, too many individual exceptions.
So let me ask this final question. Does the betterment exceed the assessed value of that property?
So in this is this on? So the front lot is valued, and I have it included in your spreadsheets. The front lot is valued at $236,100, and the back lot is valued at $1,034,500.
Okay.
I don't have that information.
Okay, we can have a debate this all.
No, I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, is it, I see Bree Leering has had her hand up quite some time. Bree, is it about with regards to the abatement, or what is your question?
Hi, good evening, how are you?
Good, Bree, how are you?
Good, Bree Lang, 1041 Union Street. My first comment is that it's really hard to follow when you're on Zoom because we're not seeing the map, so if there was a way to display that while we were talking, that would help the people at home. Also, so number one, have we found the percent that the wall helps the town with repair and recovery costs for the properties that do not have houses? I have to assume that the wall is protecting us as a town, and that follows right into my number two question. Or this is just like comments, I don't even need a response. Just throwing these out as my points of concern. Oh, my bird's gonna go. Okay, so my number two is that those properties being protected helps us because we need that for emergency access. So we need that for emergency access, we need that for heavy machinery. If that wall isn't there, and that could, whatever. So number three, does that mean if the people that are on the wall and the properties around it are paying for it, does that mean that it's now private property where the town can't use it and I'm assuming not, but that doesn't make them liable for anything, I'd hope. And then my last comment is, does the charge that the Tier 1 people and Tier 2 people are getting consider the damage that the construction has done to their homes and or properties? Because the closer to the wall, the more damage there is to the homes where I've seen, cracks in foundations, cracks in the walls, doors not closing properly, things like that. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bree. Alicia Babcock.
Hi.
Hi.
Alicia Babcock, Ocean Road South. So I think we all know since the beginning this has never been easy. And, we've done the best that we could with under the circumstances, most of them not pleasant. I don't think anybody's surprised to be here in the sense that there were clearly betterments that were discussed before Phase 2 happened. I think because of the feedback that I've received since this information has gone out to the neighborhood, I think a lot of this is coming from trying to not having enough time to absorb these numbers, not having enough time to absorb the methodology and to have open discussion about maybe some other things that might work a little bit better for Phase 2. Phase 1, we did our best. We came up with a plan that worked for that particular section, but it was a denser area, so it was a little bit easier to tier everything out because there were more homes involved. We were also talking about a much different situation. We had FEMA subsidizing most of it. We only had a $180,000 gap in funding that had to be spread out amongst, quite a few homes. So it was more palatable. And when we, as a Seawall Committee, discussed all of this with the town about how to deal with Phase 1, we definitely did express concerns at that time about how this really, while it was okay for Phase 1, it really was not going to apply to Phase 2 in the same way. Like it wasn't going to, there weren't enough houses behind the wall to absorb it. It was not going to be as neat and clean. So I guess I'm proposing a couple of things. First of all, we, the Seawall Committee, were a little surprised that we were up against this June 15th deadline. We had no idea that substantial completion was considered at December 15th. We weren't notified about a final walkthrough or anything like that. We were under the assumption that total completion meant total completion, including punch list items, everything all done, finalized, final numbers in, and then the clock would start ticking for the 6 months. That was really news to us. When I got the call from Scott, just a few weeks ago, it kind of sent everybody into a bit of a frenzy. And we said, well, what the heck has been going on all winter? We could have been hashing this out all winter long at more of a leisurely pace, instead of having everybody frantically trying to figure out what works the best for this particular situation. So we did request that Mary go and ask town council, what the designation was, right? How could we maybe interpret this in a way where we could give ourselves a little bit more time so that we can really do this right. I mean, this is not something I think that we want to be doing the way we're doing it right now. It's very stressful. So if there's any way that we can maybe interpret this a little bit differently, that the project closeout is maybe more recently, or maybe not even yet. I mean, I think Northern has been working there really right up until a couple of weeks ago. And then that way, this group from the neighborhood and the town can maybe take some of these suggestions, which are really valid and interesting, to have maybe a land assessment and a home assessment and things, and really kind of come up with something that is palatable, that makes sense, that works, instead of kind of doing it like this, because I think this is what's causing everybody a lot of angst.
The bottom line, Alicia, we've got to find 25%.
No, I
You have to
understand,
find
I understand
25%
that.
from these, all these properties, all right?
I know.
So at the end of the day, there's the methodology that's come up is consistent with phase one. And we have to, we've applied it, they've applied it to phase two.
Right.
And it's at the end of the day, nobody's going to be happy. Nobody's
Well,
going to be happy because
yeah.
but we have to find 25%.
Right.
We have to find this money. Now,
I understand.
It has to come out of all these properties here.
I understand, but, you know, we did the best that we
What we
could.
could do is I mean, at the end of the day, the people on the front of the seawall don't want to pay, and the people behind the seawall don't want to pay. I mean,
Well, I don't know that it's that. I think people want
is
to
it-
feel like.
how is it?
I
mean,
think people want to feel like
they've
it's,
sent-
that there was some
there's
fairness.
a group of people that say they don't want to pay their betterments at all, full stop. We received a letter.
Okay, I don't have anything.
They don't want to pay.
I don't have anything to do with that. I'm just trying to make the best of this, and I'm trying to come up with a way that might take some pressure off of everyone. That's all. And you know, when the Seawall Committee, well, actually, it wasn't even, it was just a couple of us when we met with Mary. You know, we did the best we could to try to look at the map that the town had already sort of laid out.
Right.
And we did try to explain that there was some nuance there, you know, not living in the neighborhood, things that you wouldn't know. We did the best that we could, but clearly tonight there is a whole lot more concern and questions that we really didn't even anticipate. And so,
The
you know,
concern seems to be for two properties.
Well,
The two properties.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if everybody that wants to talk has talked yet, but I'll let Candy take it from here because she I'm sure will have
Candace.
more to add.
By the way, it's $2.9 million we got to find, right? 2.9 million.
2 million.
2.94, right?
2 million.
2.94.
Candace
2.9.
Martin, 59 Gurnett Road.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just want to do one point. I understand the methodology, and it's
Right.
consistent with Phase 1.
Correct.
When all the numbers turned out, the Tier 2, 3, and 4 are based on the number of homes in those categories. And how it nets out is Tier 2 is 17.8, Tier 3 is higher at 19.6. So I'm just asking to make sure that it's a cascading value, that the third row is not higher than the second row, and that the second row is almost as much as the first row on Ocean Road South. So that's,
I mean, the amount they're paying, you mean? Because
Right.
based on the property size and the house, right?
no,
No,
it's.
no. So if
What's it based on?
if I
Can you
may.
answer that one?
So what Candace is suggesting is that the total amount of the betterment in Tier 2
Yeah.
versus the total amount of the betterment in Tier 3. Tier 3's dollar value is higher than Tier 2, and that is because there are fewer properties in Tier 3. It is the result of an algebraic equation.
Right.
The intent behind the algorithm is to ensure that the tiers are paying their proportionate share, the 70, the 17, the 8, and the 5. And that is how those amounts are derived.
Mrs. Sullivan.
Yes.
Hi, Betsy Sullivan, 277 Washington, Finance Committee. We need to not, and Fernando, and gentlemen, I so appreciate, and Amy, your focus on the fact we need to resolve this based on a timeline, not of our design, but from the statute. We, a million years ago, when my hair was a color, had a similar situation with water that we put in over off of Bay Road.
Right.
And as a result of not filing within that 6-month window, we were unable to enforce our betterments. This has been going on for 8 years, and we need to keep our eyes on the prize, which is that the only way that this seawall would have been built, you're absolutely correct, Fernando, because the Finance Committee would not have supported it, and Town Meeting would not have supported it. Town Meeting has spoken. Yeah. I don't imagine that anybody that is going to be paying this betterment is happy about it.
Yep.
But that being said, they would be a lot less happy if their house was in the ocean. This was the only way it was going to get done. The methodology was created for Phase 1. It is carried over to Phase 2. We have tried to be as fair and equitable as possible, but town meeting has spoken. Shall. The betterments were absolutely part of the agreement that the rest of the town made with this particular neighborhood, and we have to get you folks to send this to the registry so that we do not find ourselves in an Alden Heights situation. And we can get into individuals, and I understand that folks have very strong feelings on this, but we are not going to have another conversation because we have been doing this for 8 years. And now, because this has come to its normal conclusion, we cannot then stop and have another conversation because nobody is going to be happy if you gave them another 6 months. But we don't have that luxury. So please, as Finance Committee, I've spoken, please do not put us in the position where we now have to absorb $3 million because the betterments are no longer enforceable. That would be such a betrayal of the agreement that we made for this neighborhood at town meeting that it's unfathomable.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. It is 8:30.
One more question.
One more. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Your name and address, please. Yeah.
Helen Plant, 137 Gurnett. The problem with the whole situation is that you're asking a smaller group of people to pay 70% as opposed to the first tier. It's a smaller group of people. Why is it on us? Why is that on us? It's not fair.
Yeah.
The assessment is not fair.
Yeah, I hear you. What can I do about it? We've got to find $2.9 million.
Yes, I understand that, but you're asking a smaller group of people to pay the majority on this.
Well, so you want the other people behind to, anyway, I mean, what we
Yes,
could
I
do
do.
is.
I want it to be fair. I want everyone to pay. Yes.
There's also the aspect that we brought it up earlier,
Yep.
that when the first seawall was done,
Yep.
FEMA kicked in.
Right.
We didn't have any help from FEMA here.
Yes, but
No
that
help
should
from
not
FEMA.
be put on
But that
a
was-
small group of us.
But we knew that going in.
Yep.
we
I
knew that
don't,
goes-
I don't think the small group of us
Benefit
knew
is-
that.
The town meeting knew, everybody,
Everybody
It's not
knew.
fair. It's not fair. And it
Everybody
should be-
knew, I'm sorry.
It should be reassessed,
Reassess what?
how it's distributed. It should not be 70% should not be on a very small group of us.
I think we need to move it
Remember
along.
that
Yeah,
it's
I think
it's
so.
proximity to the wall and protection of those assets that are closest to the
It's-
wall.
Yeah, it was based on, if your house is on top of the seawall, that's the methodology that was used for Phase 1. Yeah, if you're directly benefit by the seawall, and then as you move away, it changes. But anyway, that's the methodology that was used, but we've already made your comment, thank you. I'm not, you've already, but that's twice I've heard you, right? You've had a chance to speak twice, all right? And I've heard you first time, I heard you second time, it is not fair. I heard you. It's not fair, I hear you.
Geraldine McShane, Gurnett Road, I had another point. I know I was up here talking about my property, I'm still very confused about that, but let's put that aside.
Yes.
I had another question in my notes about what you people are voting on tonight, because I'm confused, and I still have questions along my property, so I don't know what my bill's going to be. But the payment options, these amounts are huge, and I know most people think everyone in Duxbury is wealthy. Not everyone in Duxbury is wealthy. That's why I think the first override didn't pass, okay? So some of us are really going to struggle paying these betterments, seriously, okay? We can't write checks. I would like to see another payment option for 30 years, so that we can try to make sense of this, for those on fixed incomes. These are big amounts. The Phase 1 had very small amounts. I think they had to pay 4%. So I really think the payment option needs to be really looked at, and I would recommend that we put another one on there for 30 years, and that we get to choose that.
Okay.
Please.
Mary, can you
I
answer that
hear
question?
you, and I honestly wish that we could, but the statute states that the longest term that a betterment can be financed is 20 years. I know.
What is it? Gentlemen?
No interest.
Steve, Thank you. Steve Callahan, 12 Bay Ave, the Seawall Committee, and president of my neighborhood association in the Webster Island. Not sure where to start. We were involved in some work meetings with Mary and the board. There were many, many questions, just like tonight. It's hard to to talk about it and explain to somebody how you can see what we're going through just from listening to the neighbors tonight. So, I mean, personally, I don't think anyone's saying here we're not paying anything, but we got to figure out a fairer way. And so, after the first work session, I went back and my neighbors said, "How to go?" We're talking separately. Question, for 2 hours, and we're like, we can't even answer these questions. These are legal questions. We thought it prudent, and we reached out for some help at our expense. We asked for our counsel to give us some opinion on some of these questions. And to be honest, I was hoping we would have had a response from town council before this meeting, so we all had a little more awareness of all of these questions. So I guess my first question is, could town council, comment on what we sent in?
Okay.
And in doing that, there were some new questions that we don't even know, but legal questions. So we were hoping, I don't know if that's for tonight, I'm sure everyone's tired here, but if we can't get more time, then I think we better talk about it, or we need to. But how do we get that?
I think that this could be now, Mary?
Sure.
Right, we've got Jeff here.
Okay. And we asked,
Town council can answer that question, or?
Sorry.
yeah, so we thought it would be helpful to put it in writing. We
Yes.
weren't thinking it was being dealt with an open forum here, but whether he responds in writing, we asked Mr. Danhe to come tonight, so he's here as well.
Okay, good. All right, town council, Mr. Blake, could you possibly comment on this letter that has been sent?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I actually did opine on it, and I don't know when I sent it over, but it was very recently after I looked at the letter. In my opinion, the letter basically said made a couple of arguments. Number one, that you can't assess a betterment for a same project twice. And the law that was cited in there was from a special act or from an earlier law, which had very similar language to that. And it talked about the same project. Here, the Chapter 80 says nothing about assessing a betterment for the same project twice, although I'm not sure you could. But here, we are looking at a different project, right? This is a different wall. This isn't that I built one wall, I charged you a betterment, and then I came back and said, oh, I'm going to charge you another betterment for that wall. In fact, we cited some cases where there were sewers that where somebody was charged a betterment, a property abutting a sewer. Years later, when the sewer was in disrepair and needed to be fixed, there was another betterment charged. I think that's probably more of an analogous than the other. And there was also a question of vagueness. In my opinion, there's nothing vague about this betterment assessment. We have a specific formula that we've used, and we have allocated 25% of the total cost. We've deducted FEMA grants or other grants that we've gotten, and there's 75% of the project is also going to be paid by the taxpayers of Duxbury. So after reviewing council's letter, I opined that I believe you can move forward and that the concerns outlined in council's letter should not prevent you from moving forward.
Okay, thank you. That's town council's opinion.
Well, I've been asked quite a few times, how come I know people in Situate and Marshfield, and they've been doing seawall projects for 20 years. We got one project, one and done, and we're so lucky. And congratulations to everybody, we got our wall. But they've never done betterments in these other towns. And why do we have to pay a betterment? And I don't know the answer to this.
Well, because the reason why you're paying a betterment is already explained. I've explained, and Betsy Sullivan explained, we wrote an article and we presented in the warrant to the town that said for this seawall to be built, there will be betterments of 25%, right? And the town voted for that seawall based on that. And then they went to ballot. So the town of Duxbury, the residents, basically have said for this seawall to be built, the town, we will pay, there will be betterments charged of 25% of the value of the project, which is 2.9 million. The town has spoken. I don't know what the town of Marshfield or the town of Situate, I don't know what the residents decided or agreed to. All I know is at Duxbury, that is the process that we followed. So I can't comment on Marshfield or
Is that
Situate.
legal, though? I mean, it's infrastructure.
It's
If I understand the answer,
Yeah.
all right, there were betterments assessed when it got built.
yeah.
It's replacement of infrastructure.
You've heard town council, and the town council actually supports this select board and has advised the select board that we can charge these betterments, that we can vote on it tonight and proceed with it. That's what I'm sorry, I'm not able to follow your counsel because I need to follow town council, and that he's opined quite clearly. You heard him.
Yeah, well, that wasn't the only question, there were a number of them.
Like what?
Well, it was on the timing. I don't know, John, is it easier for you to, I don't want to,
Maybe, do you want to ask maybe your town, your council to come up and maybe ask these questions, or how do you want to do this?
yeah, we do? Okay. Okay, so then it's going to come down to fairness, and you hear everyone here, and I get the calls in my neighborhood, right? We get like 50, and it saves them from calling Mary and you guys.
Sorry, I appreciate you taking the
We try
flag.
to help, and but I can't answer when we get two houses 20 feet apart, and he's paying a betterment and he's paying nothing. It's not fair to me, and I can't even explain it, and I know there was a tremendous amount of effort put in to come up with this whole plan, but then I hear, well, his house is higher. Well, what about all the people that raise their houses, and they're up on piers, and water goes right under them? They don't care. So, that's all, I'm transferring the questions I get, and I can't answer them. So it's coming down to, what's fair?
Right, okay.
Thank you.
What's fair? Thank you. Mary, can we just for my information, right? The timeline is obviously December 15th. It was kicked off, right? And what was the basis of that kicking off? The substantial completion that sets this clock running.
Correct.
How is that determined?
How is substantial completion determined? When Pat Brennan is over here. He can describe that for you, but it is when the project is most wholly complete and able to function in its intended use with some remaining items left to be done. And if Pat wants to expand upon that, he can.
If you don't mind, can we ask, I'd just like to have
And Fernando, just a
Pat
FYI,
Brennan
Amy
to go ahead
has her hand up.
and just answer my question.
Yeah, thank you. Pat Brennan, the engineer for the seawall. Substantial completion is defined as the point at which the owner can use the project. If it was a building, you can take use of the building. In this case, it was December 15th. That was, at that point, all of the concrete had been placed for the seawall. That was actually completed in October. And they completed the revetment in front of the portions of the seawall that had revetment. So all of that work had been completed at that time. After that, it was just basically cleanup. So the wall was being used at that time.
Substantially complete, and that is, that's on record. Is there an official record of that, so that?
There was a notification from Pat, yes.
Okay. And so basically the clock, we can't stop the clock. The clock has started.
Correct. And that clock is defined in the statute.
It's defined in the statute.
In the IGR.
Because of that notification from, that the project was substantially complete, all right?
Yeah, and it was a request from Northern Construction that we deem it substantial completion, because the other part that goes along with that is every payment that is due to the contractor, we retain 5% of that. Upon substantial completion, we reduced that 5% retainage down to 1%.
Okay.
So we had done that at that time.
Right. And we're still going for 1% to clean up, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Fernando, if
Okay.
I may. Amy has her hand up.
Oh, Amy.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to comment a little bit on the fairness aspect, because we're hearing a lot about that. Fernando's made a really good point. You know, we need to come up with the 25% of the total cost in order to adhere to the governing body of this town, which is town meeting. Town meeting said we will pay 75%, betterments 25%. So we have a definitive number that we have to assess in betterments to the group of people that were most bettered by this project. And that's what we're trying to do. And what we've done is used methodologies consistent with the first phase. There's nothing more fair that we could possibly do. I think that it's really hard for me to sit here and listen to people saying it's not fair, we don't want to pay the betterments. That wasn't the deal when the seawall, when the people that were so affected, they were so concerned that they were going to lose their properties because of the ocean. They you know, they made a good case, and our board as well as town meeting said, okay, this is the deal. This is what we're going to do. We're going to share this burden, and so here we are. And so we're trying to do the best we can to adhere to the governing body, which is town meeting, and move forward. I do think that we need to not delay this. I don't want to put in jeopardy these betterments. I think we have to move forward. I think we've gotten tripped up here by the three exceptions to our map. And again, as Jeff has pointed out, there may be more exceptions as we move forward, and there's a process for that. But I think with the two small lots, we can say, okay, the value is such that we cannot impose that type of betterment. But when it comes to the lot behind the other lot, I think they each need to get an assessment, a betterment on the front lot, a betterment on the back lot, consistent with the tiers. And I think we just have to move forward. I'm sorry that this is difficult. I can feel your pain, but we must to do our job as select board members. We must move forward with this.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Zoni?
Yes.
Yes, my name is Jack Leone, and I live on Ocean Road South.
Yeah.
I want to say that this is one seawall. Part of the seawall we got for free because it fell down. The other part did not fall down, even though it was at least 20 years after the age of the seawall, and you were told on two separate occurrences, on 2007 and 2009, and they even gave you $50,000 to study it, and you said no. You put us in this position. The right position to do is take the money that we all got for the seawall. We got paid for the first seawall. Everybody, if you want to do it, just the people at the seawall, everybody that's on the seawall should be paying a share, and it would be much more equitable. Why do they get it for free and we have to pay for the same job? It makes no sense, and it's extremely hard. The other thing I want to say is I am appalled that we got notice for this. I got notice yesterday in an email. I never got anything from the people. They should have had a letter sent to everybody so everyone could be here. You got a lot of questions here. This isn't a quarter of the people that are involved here. And you're going to have a hell of a lot more and a lot more litigation as a result of doing it this way. I know you have to get it done because you want to get your money back, but too bad, you screwed up again. That's what you're saying to us. Too bad to us. I say, too bad for you for not doing it right.
Fernando Guitart screwed up.
Everybody, how did you screw up?
I screwed up then. Is that what
I'm
you're
not
saying?
talking about you.
Oh, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the city, the town.
Okay.
I think that it all should be shared among everybody who are in back of the seawall and gets the benefit of the seawall. Why do we get a 70% benefit of the seawall and the people that are beside us pay nothing? They're paying only what was left of what the government and the state did not pay for.
All I can say, Mr. Leone, is that was discussed a lot back then. It was known that the folks that were behind the seawall that got the money from FEMA benefited greatly. And the seawall committee and your neighbors wanted to move forward with this project, knowing that FEMA wasn't going to contribute. They don't do preventative maintenance. It was a known. We weren't going to get money from FEMA.
I totally disagree that this is an infrastructure and the whole town should have paid for it. And I said it once before. If you didn't replace the seawall, a whole bay would have been polluted by the water coming over everything. And that would have cost you $200 million at least. Who would then say, oh, gee, we should have got the seawall.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody got a benefit from building the seawall. Everybody.
That's why
But you don't pose it that way.
the town is paying 75%.
What?
The town is paying. All of us are paying 75%.
The town is paying 75%, right. Well, they should be paying 75%.
Yeah, right.
They should be paying, everybody should be paying for it.
Again, I just want to reply one more time. This was voted on at town meeting, all right? The town voted to build the seawall at the request of the people that lived in the seawall. Were really concerned that we were going to lose their property 88 down. We had, Alicia, how many times did you come to talk to us to tell us about any day now, the seawall is going to fall down and we're going to lose our property? Town, you must do something. You must do something.
Why did we have to get
Alicia
there?
came here all the time. So we finally, this select board put it on the warrant, and the town decided. All us residents, we got together and we went to the town meeting and we said yes.
The town
And then the
replied to
ballot-
the questions that you asked them.
And we put it on the ballot.
We put it on the ballot. It
They don't wanna
nearly
pay for
failed. It
anything.
nearly failed.
The town, I'm sure, doesn't want to pay for any of it. We got statements from you saying that the people west of 3A don't even know you exist. They're not going to pay for it.
Actually, there are people still in this town that don't know there's a seawall in Duxbury.
Well, it's
A
still
lot
not
of people
fair.
never knew it until it fell in the ocean.
I think we've reached. Let me just. I think we've heard from everybody. I think we've heard the. Alicia, sorry, Alicia, please. Can you are you going to add any more? Wait. Sure. Yeah, okay.
Paul
Question.
Donovan, 147 Gurnett.
Yes.
If you take the 20-year option and you sell your house before 20 years, is it treated like a mortgage or is it treated like a tax?
So the betterment stays with the property.
Stays with the
So,
property.
yeah, what will happen is a lien is recorded on your property, it stays with the property.
Alicia, can you
Yes.
just, are you
Yes,
going to ask
very
a question?
quickly.
No.
Yes.
Are you going to ask a question, new question, or are you just going to?
No, it's new. This is new.
A new question?
Yes, this is nothing, yes, this is
Okay.
new. Someone reached out to me, I forgot to mention this before, someone from the neighborhood reached out who couldn't come tonight and
Yeah.
asked me to ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that is, since the wall is protecting the utilities and the sewer lines under Gurnett Road for the whole neighborhood, for the whole Gurnett neighborhood, is there a reason why that is not viewed as everyone benefiting from the seawall? And why is the betterment not being spread out amongst everybody in the neighborhood, even on the other side of Gurnett Road, equally?
Because they get flooded from the bayside primarily.
Okay, but so do the houses on the other side of Gurnett on that straight part. So that's the question, and I don't really have a good answer for that because it's kind of
Now you do.
it's kind of interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Our town managers provided the
Okay,
answer.
all right, and then the other thing before, because it seems like you're getting ready to take a vote.
Yes.
Mary, would you mind, please, could you just pull the map up one more time?
I was just closing it.
Oh, sorry.
What do you want to show us on the map?
What I am wondering is, when we were together as a group, looking at the lines, and I see on the map here that you have copied, the large map, the line that on the Nigerian property is not drawn at 90 degrees, it looks like, on the map as it is on the others. It's sort of at an angle. So I'm wondering why that is, because when we were together, that line
When you say
was,
we were together, who are you talking
I'm
about?
sorry, myself and Mary and
Is your
Scott.
question about the Nigerian property on why? Okay, so,
This is drawn at an angle. It's not perpendicular.
no, because that's not intended to be the delineation. That was just connecting those two properties together. That was just a notation, but
Because in
the,
the overhead GIS that Rainey had pulled up that day, the seawall extends part of the
So,
way into this lot.
that, what,
I don't think we have, do we have an as-built yet on the wall?
So what Rainey, if I may, what we called up that day was we were utilizing near map and the town's property records, which are not definitive plans. What we called up earlier today is the easement plan that has been recorded, which I showed you,
Yeah.
where the seawall ended and it was not in front of the Nigerian property.
Okay, well. Okay, because as far as,
It was on-
so these are the last plans that we have. I mean, again, I don't know when the town will get an as-built, but.
So Alicia, what are you trying to
So
say?
what I'm saying is that
Yes, please.
we deliberated quite a bit on that particular lot and the house behind it.
Yeah,
And I'm a little confused why it's been removed, and then on top of that, why the house behind it still remains. It doesn't make a lot of sense, because that's also, by removing that, that's also affecting the overall tally for everyone as well.
Yeah.
And there is
Okay.
access to the wall there.
Okay.
Answer.
There is a benefit,
yeah.
so,
Can we get an
So Alicia,
Sorry, I didn't
Mary
mean to
will
say.
answer it right now.
okay.
Yeah, let's get an
Okay.
answer.
Wait, I'm s-
As you previously
I wasn't ordering you to answer, I was just
Yes, please.
trying to move it along.
So those two properties, when we looked at the recorded easement map, which I'm showing here on the screen, this is a precise and recorded map showing where the seawall extends to. And if you look right here, this is the property line for parcel 901138.
Yeah.
And you will see that the seawall is not in front of that parcel, and therefore, that particular parcel has been removed. When you draw the line straight back, the parcel that is secondary to the Nigerians, it's 901038. That is also not behind the seawall when you draw that line back. So the maps that we were using in our conversations a month ago were near map photos, and they were not recorded easements like this plan. And so upon,
Right, so may I show you this?
I don't think it's going to, Alicia?
If you just do. No, I know,
You
but
just-
these are the building plans.
Alicia?
Yes.
Alicia,
Yes.
basically, this is.
so I
Mary-
looked at the building plans with our DPW
I
director
just want to make sure that
today.
we clear that up, though, so
Yep,
that it
she's
doesn't
going to
get
answer
back
it.
in.
She's going to answer it right now.
Okay.
One more time.
So we looked at the building plans with the DPW director today, as well as these easement plans, and it was determined that that property is not behind the seawall.
Okay,
Okay? So the question's been answered, Alicia.
okay. When do we, Pat, do you know when we will have the as-built?
So, as of,
Questions are
question, you've asked the question,
Okay,
Mary's provided an answer.
okay.
okay?
So, all right, so
Yeah.
when we get the as-built, if there's something that changes out on the field, how do we address that?
We can't.
You can't. Tonight's the night.
Right.
Tonight's the night. Okay, so. you-
Mary, is there an ability to draw the line to help better understand that?
On
I
this,
don't know if you can put a line in there. Before you had a shaded bar that actually did help. There you go. Okay. Does that help better
but
for people to see that?
No, it doesn't, because we can't see where the houses are and what have you, so.
whoop, oh geez, hang on.
But I guess, Mary, my point
So-
is that the line that you're shading is not parallel. It's,
Alicia, your question has been asked,
okay,
and you have an answer.
okay, but the shadowing is not in line with the wall.
Okay, yes. Right.
Yeah,
I think we're ready.
Adobe Acrobat is not very forgiving
Yeah,
when
this
you're trying
is
to
an
do
act-
It's very difficult to do this right, but.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just a clarification. So,
Yeah.
Mary, with respect to the order of the betterment assessment.
Yes.
There are exhibits or attachments. Have
So-
those changed in
Yes.
connection with these? Okay.
Correct, correct. So those amounts will need to be updated when I sent out the last set of revisions this afternoon, indicated and copied town council that the amounts would need to be updated on the Exhibit A.
Okay.
And Exhibit B is the map that you have in front of you that we have sent out. So the map has been updated. Exhibit A needs to be updated, but that does not change the language in the vote that you have here tonight. So
Right, but with respect to the numbers, though, are there any significant differences in what anybody has seen already versus what they will see in that letter in September?
So there are differences. I
Okay.
think that people's interpretation of significant is varies, right? So I
Okay.
can, there are a number of differences, and I'm happy to call it up on the screen.
That'd be helpful, thanks.
Mr. Brogner, do you have a question or something
Completely
to provide-
different, Mr.
Let me just
Chair.
finish, let me just finish. Provide additional context to the conversation. What is it?
Paul Brogner, 90 Humphreys Lane, local engineer, member of the Seawall Committee, but also equally as important, the vice chair of the Powder Point Bridge Advisory Committee. We have said nothing tonight about the Powder Point Bridge. Absolutely nothing. If the schedule goes accordingly and we go one direction only, that bridge comes down next year. We're going to live for 2+ years without any access to the beach except for Gurnett Road. Okay, the road was built in the late 70s when the sewer line and the water line went in. A couple of us were here then and still here today. Sooner or later, we have to face the fact, and we have already a little bit with the advisory committee for the bridge, we're going to need some money to rebuild Gurnett Road before the bridge comes down.
Okay.
Okay, and I just want to go on record because the value of Gurnett Road has always been important. The value to Gurnett Road and the town will be more important once the bridge comes down, and there's one way over there. And over the last 3 or 4 years since Phase 1 ended, things have changed. We've had the beach nourishing program where the 18-wheelers go back and forth constantly for their 3 or 4 months of work. So in a way, and I'm going to get shot for this, but I think it's fair and equitable, is the 75-25 still applicable? From a funding viewpoint, yeah, we legally tied it in back in 2023. But when you look at the value of that area of town before and during the bridge reconstruction, to me, it's worth a lot more than 75%. Granted, I voted for it 3 or 4 years ago, and I'd vote for it again. The only way to get through this project was to share the betterments. But again, if I was sitting in your position, and Mrs. McNabb's as well, some of the circumstances have changed, plain and simple. I don't live on that side of town. I live over here, okay? So in that respect, I don't have anything to bear with this, just out of being a member of the committees and willing to put forth the time to help what's in the best interest of the town. And I truly think that the 75-25 was applicable 3 or 4 years ago, but definitely will not be next year if the schedule holds out.
Okay.
Okay? That's all I want to say.
Thank you for your comments. Right. Yeah,
Can I
what's the
just-
next step?
Can I
Amy?
just
Amy.
If
yeah.
I could just add, and thank you for your comment, Mr. Brogna, but our hands are tied. Town meeting, the article says the word shall. We had discussion about using the word shall but in the article, because we wanted I really think part of it was to try to avoid this and to let town meeting know that if they were to approve the article, then 25% would be assessed in betterments. We shall do it. We have to do it. So I just think we have to get on with it.
Right. Thank you, Amy. Right, so what's the next step?
Well, Mary was going to show us a chart with the differences in the numbers based upon the changes we talked about tonight.
And then can we call the motion, Brian?
Happy to. Okay.
Maybe not.
Yeah, he would have stood up.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, that's helpful for context.
Yeah. Actually, there's an attorney there with a nice.
Are you hovering for?
Are you hovering? You want to come up and chat, or?
No. I'm good. I'm just stretching my back. I've
Okay.
got bad back. So.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but okay.
Sorry.
All right.
All right.
So tier 4, we'll see no changes.
Correct.
Tier 3, whoops. Tier 3 sees no changes. Tier 2, $1,200 difference. And tier 1 is a whole bunch of different numbers. Okay. The highest number being
I think the largest
what the,
being $2,200.
okay.
I'm sorry to interject again, but can we be sure that we change the home into the tier 2 and then add to tier 1 the vacant lot that's in front of that home? Can we be sure to, I don't know what the complexities of doing that math on the fly, but we need to make sure we
Amy,
do
let's leave it as presented by. I think that's my suggestion. Is let's leave it as presented by our finance director. Is that the general sense? Do you want to?
Well, I disagree, but there's
Thank you.
That's one property, and there's perhaps an abatement process that might be pursued there.
Okay, so where's Cindy when we need her?
No, I mean, you had mentioned if you moved it should actually get punished.
You get punished.
Correct. There,
Be paying more.
correct.
So,
I think trying to be fair and equitable, and at the end of the day, the point there is to protect houses, and so let's leave it as I strongly suggest, and I have two of us say let's leave it as it is. This is the best job, the fairest job, the best that we can do, and so I think to start anyway. Let's leave it as it is. That's my suggestion. Yeah?
take a vote.
You want to take a vote? Let's take a vote.
Let's go.
All right. Was we, the Select Board of the Town of Duxbury, determine an order that improvements be made to the seawall abutting properties located on Bay Avenue, Cable Hill Way, E Marginal Road, E Pine Road, Gurnet Road, Lewis Court, Plymouth Avenue, Ocean Road North, and Ocean Road South, Duxbury, and that betterments shall be assessed upon the properties benefiting therefrom, which properties identified in the betterment assessment order executed by the board today, as presented by Mary McKinnon, Town Finance Director, and authorize Town Council to change the names of the owners of such properties to account for recent conveyances, if any, and to record said order. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Roll call
Just
vote.
for clarification, I believe
Discussion.
we've revised that order to include reference to the town meeting vote and the general vote that was taken for further context. It's not there in front of you, but
It is.
I think it was revised today.
It's in the handout that you have
Oh,
in front of
good.
you.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
Okay, so whereas
Can I-
wait, can I just, okay, let's just, for the record, right? I'll add, the Select Board is authorized pursuant to General Law, Section 80, and the vote taken under Article 13 of March 11th, 2023 Annual Town Meeting Vote, a certified copy which is attached here to and incorporated then, and the Proposition 2.5 ballot question approved by the Duxbury residents of March 25, 2023, to assess betterments for the improvement to be made on the seawall abutting the properties as outlined in the vote.
Right, because that warrant article
Yep.
carried forward the whole concept of
Correct.
the betterment of
Yep.
the 25%.
Yeah, got it.
We have a second.
All right,
Yes.
roll call vote.
Michael, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Ryan, aye.
Amy, aye.
Okay.
Do you have everything you need for June 15th?
I do.
Okay, thank you very much.
We'll wait to
Thank you.
sign.
We do, but how about if we'll get to that after.
Okay.
Okay, next item on the agenda is,
If I may, would you mind handing this out?
yeah. Oh, that's why you guys are here.
Just want to move us along.
Yeah.
Mike?
All right, the next item on the agenda
Is
should...
discussion and vote pertaining to update to financial policies and the engagement of the Division of Local Services for Training and Assistance, Fall 2026, presented by Mary McKinnon, Finance Director, along with our representatives from the Finance Committee,
As
Kathleen and Betsy.
As briefly as I can, the town has adopted financial policies. The last time that they were reviewed and revised was in 2018. It is time that we take another look at our policies to do a refresh on those and potentially add some additional policies that are community-wide best practices. In preparing to update the financial policies, I reached out to the Division of Local Services. They offer free consulting, and one of the areas of consulting that they do is they assist communities with specifically developing financial policies. So in order to gain the experience and the institutional knowledge of that agency that works with communities across the Commonwealth, I reached out to them to schedule a time for them to come out and work with us. They are available to schedule that appointment in the fall. However, in order for them to engage in this project, they require Select Board approval. And so tonight, I'm asking you to take a vote to support the request of bringing the Division of Local Services here to the town of Duxbury to work with us to provide some training and assistance to update and revise our financial policies.
Excellent.
You were bored. Right, I move that we, the Select Board of the Town of Duxbury, request to engage the Division of Local Services to provide training and assistance to update the Town of Duxbury's financial policies. Do I have a second?
Second.
Enthusiastic second.
All right, any discussion?
That's great. Thank you for using those resources. As soon as you started to describe it, the light bulb went off about DLS. So like we don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's great. It's an important thing. So thank
Need
you
a roll
for
call
being
vote.
proactive.
Right, roll call vote. Mike?
Michael, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Ryan, aye.
Amy, aye.
Amy, aye. Great, excellent,
Thank
Thank
you.
you for good thought. Excellent thought.
Right, next item on the agenda is a discussion and vote regarding an easement for Eversource Verizon
Next
regarding...
Next meeting.
Oh,
Switch it, all right.
switch it. All right, discussion and vote pertaining to a transfer of ownership from Seabird Coffee to Leyden Street Coffee Company, 35 Depot Street, Unit D, Duxbury, presented by Larry Anzon. There you are.
Hey, Larry.
Hi, Larry.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for waiting.
It's quite all right. It's pretty interesting stuff. For the first hour.
Exactly.
Do you want to run for Select Board or not?
We'll see. You know?
In Plymouth?
I'm a Plymouth guy.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But I have family in Duxbury, and I'm very
I
excited
I saw Leiden Street.
to hopefully be part of the community.
All right, what do you want to tell us about this?
Yeah, so I've been in the coffee business for over 10 years now, from servicing high-end espresso machines to roasting coffee, and now also offering wholesale coffee to other South Shore businesses, Slack-Tide Coffee, Restoration Coffee, and Seabird Coffee. So I've had a relationship with Brian, the current owner of Seabird, for a while now, and we've been doing business as far as some machine repair and also offering wholesale coffee to their shops, Duxbury and Cohasset. And this situation came to be through offering him wholesale coffee, and I think he's he seems to be moving on to other projects, and just came up in conversation, hey, do you want to buy the business and take over the store? And it'd be a great opportunity for me to have a second location. I have a location in Plymouth, going on 5 years now, and it's been successful, and this was just a really great opportunity for me to expand and be part of also a great community too. So.
Okay. Excellent.
Excellent.
I have just one question, right? When you go into Seabird Coffee, there's a whole bunch there for merch, right? And there's not much area for seating. Are you thinking of doing something a little different?
I'm not quite sure. I do feel like that is a wasted space over there for sure. So I'd like to, maybe reconfigure that, maybe have a bit more seating, but also include some merch and more retail coffee for people to buy and bring home.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I would use that space a little different.
That's a comment from quite a few people that have been in there. So
I've heard it more than once.
more than once.
Are you doing food?
No, just keeping the current situation. So they bring in pastries from Pan d'Avignon.
Yeah.
And I have a relationship with them as well. We use them in the store in Plymouth. So it'd just be brought in pastries. So we would have full ingredients lists, with all that.
Okay.
I would like to maybe examine the food thing, but I'm not sure what we're able to do with the space allowed. But I think just getting in the door and kind of operating.
Well, welcome.
as they do. Oh, sweet. Thanks.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Any question?
Are you changing the name? Are you going to be
It
Leiden
will
or
be Leiden
Seabird?
Street Coffee.
Okay. And,
Leiden Street Coffee.
all right. Are you going to use the same beans?
Yeah, so that our coffee has been in there for over a year now.
All right. What's in it? Because it makes me really jittery.
It's cold caffeine.
Are you drinking the cold brew? Or
No, it's the regular brew.
I think it's the person.
No, I'm just curious what the.
Yeah,
right.
so our espresso is a blend of coffee from Brazil and Ethiopia. And I believe they have a coffee from Honduras on the trip brewer.
All right. I usually have to pace myself at Seabird. It's very strong,
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
but it's a great spot.
It is a good spot.
All right.
yeah.
Amy, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
All right.
All right.
Okay, I move that the Select Board approve a new common victular license for DBA Leighton Street Coffee Company, Inc., located at 35 Depot Street, Unit D, Duxbury, MA, subject to satisfactory inspections by the Municipal Service Department and the Board of Health, along with the receipt of any required documentation and payment of all fees owed to the town of Duxbury.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Mike?
Michael, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Brian, I.
Amy abstained due to a work conflict.
Oh, interesting.
When do you change hands?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
When do you change hands?
Oh, well, scheduled for the 6th
Okay.
Okay.
of June.
Excellent.
So.
Coming right up.
Coming
All right,
right
you better
up.
get out there.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Oh,
Good
thank
luck.
you very much. I appreciate your time.
Nice. Where's that? Oh, here we go. Thank you.
Oh, there's an addition on the.
Yeah.
I just drew
Does
it.
that license
Okay.
get emailed?
We'll have it signed, and we'll email it to you,
Okay,
and
wonderful.
we'll get it to
perfect.
you.
Thank
We're
you
gonna
very
get
much.
you all
Have a
squared
good
away.
rest of
Don't
the
you
night.
worry.
Hey, can I just
Thank you, Mike.
I must admit, I personally, this whole meeting with regards to seawall is actually drained me a bit,
Yeah.
and it's taken the energy out of me and the enthusiasm out of me. And I do want to have a good conversation around the goals. I know. Anyway,
Do you want to put it up?
You want to punt? We can do it another one. Okay.
I don't want.
It's okay.
The whole thing it's been really difficult, okay, and I understand that people are upset, and anyway, so we had to do it, and I think we did it right, but it's still it has affected me.
Well, we've got meetings the next 2 Mondays in a row.
Yep. And then
We
you're off.
do?
Then you're off for 3 weeks.
Can we, Amy? Are you sorry to throw this at last minute, but
You're entitled, absolutely.
Fernando, you did a great job. It was a tough conversation. I think I think it's completely understandable. It's late, you're tired.
Yeah.
We can certainly, next, I think, we do have a meeting before the 15th, right, Randy? We have a meeting
Yeah, you've
next
got
Monday.
meetings on the
With
8th.
goals on then.
Yeah, the 8th and the 15th. I'll look at the agenda. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
I don't mind
so
at all.
Get it in.
I appreciate, I thank my fellow board members and Rennie
No problem.
for adjusting that. So
So, all right, we'll skip to that. So
Yeah.
then it's just the discussion on the beach lease.
the beach lease, right? That's a quick one.
We have Sue here.
We got
Oh,
Sue
right.
right here. I mean, you got to sign the lease.
Yeah, we'll sign it.
And the other thing is we have a sign permit thing that I emailed you, but we'll talk
Okay,
about
yeah,
that when you
all
get
right.
there.
Oh,
So,
sign permit, yes.
yeah, you'll see. And then then we can be done.
That might be.
All right, yes. So who's going to lead the discussion around the
will.
beach? Okay, good, thank you.
Well, it's the same lease, just different dates, right?
That's all it is.
Exactly.
Why don't we just,
You have a copy of the lease. As
Yeah.
you recall, last year the board reviewed the lease prior to town meeting to allow the board opportunity to review the terms of the lease prior to voting a recommendation on the article, which was unanimously supported. As Chris Lutazzi has advised me, the lease being considered this evening includes only revisions to the dates, and the lease amount remains unchanged from the past 2 years and will continue at the same amount for the upcoming lease term. You have copies of both leases. It's a 12-month lease, runs from July 1st of 2026 to June 30th of 2027, and the price is $1 million.
okay,
And you got a motion right there.
yeah, I do. Do we need any discussion as well?
No, I will say that Mike and I did our best, a year or two
Couple of years,
ago,
yeah.
Oh, right.
to beat up on Bob Hayes, and he's still got a lot of fight left in him, so we didn't make much progress, so it's still a pretty one-sided lease, but
Yeah.
we did the best we can,
All right.
All right.
so.
I-
Go to
I-
beach.
To the beach, right. So I move that Select Board vote to sign the lease agreement between the Duxbury Beach Reservation, Inc. and the town of Duxbury for a term of 12 months, beginning July 1st, 2026, and ending on June 30th, 2027, as presented.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Michael, I.
Fernando, aye.
Brian, I.
Amy, I.
Yeah, great. Motion passes
you at
as
the beach.
unanimously.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Sue.
Congratulations on that bequest. Excellent.
Oh, yes.
It was a nice art. Nice to hear.
Right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Right, we got that one.
And then we have a
So
sign
we got
lease
signed
from,
permits
Yeah, sign permit from,
from,
that's Alicia.
oh, Alicia, yeah, there we go, sorry. There we go, Alicia. Alicia, you
Yes.
don't need to talk.
Okay,
We've read it, it's very clear. You just basically want permission to put signs, actually, sign to advertise the upcoming Select Board meeting on Monday, June 15th at 6:30 PM in the presentation hall in Duxbury High School to hear the report from our Dr. Tingley and his crew, right? And you want to put signs,
On town property.
On town
That's
property.
the reason she's here.
yep,
These need to be
and,
signed.
okay.
Yeah.
Is everybody okay?
I think that's a great idea because
Yeah.
it's a big issue in town, and the more folks we can notify, the better. And I appreciate you taking the initiative on getting those notifications out.
Yep,
I didn't want to,
We probably need you at the microphone for the
at
folks
the
at home.
microphone.
I purposely kept the town locations to a minimum because I wasn't sure how you would feel about it.
But there's
But if you're
13 here.
okay, I have actually 15. There's 2 on a couple of those lines. There's 15 total, but as long as, if
Alicia,
one
I think-
happens
I
to
think the
land in
the-
another spot, is that okay, or?
Alicia?
Yeah.
There's a motion.
Yes.
And it specifies 1 through 13.
Yep,
And we're going to vote on that tonight.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to hold you to.
that's fine, that's
Okay?
fine. The rest will be on private.
Yes.
Okay.
Can do
Yeah,
that.
you can do that. Private is good.
Yes.
Amy, any questions or, okay, let me go ahead and read the motion
No,
then.
thank you.
All right, I move that Select Board vote to approve the sign permit application as presented by Alicia Babcock for the purpose of placing 18-inch by 24-inch double-faced freestanding signs on town-owned property, subject to following conditions. The proposed signs shall be placed at the following locations. 1. East and west ends of the Powder Point Bridge. 2. The island at Hall's Corner. 3. Depot Street in front of Brothers Market. 4. The island across from Town Hall. 5. Cox's Corner on both sides of Tremont Street. 6. Intersection of St. George and Tremont Street. 7. The roundabout at exit 22. 8. Near the ramps on and off to exit 20. 9. The island across from Bonji's. 10. The high school at St. George Street. 11. Entrance at transfer station. 12. corner of Mayflower and Tremont Street at Senior Center. 13, Toby Garden and Tremont Street. Any signs placed on town-owned property shall be removed no later than 24 hours after the event.
Just one question,
Yep.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So the Depot Street in front of Brothers Market, I presume that's town land? Because I guess the point is that we're not authorizing like somebody else's private
Private
property.
property, right.
You know.
I think Brothers Market owns that.
Yeah, if it's a violation, Jim will pull it.
Yeah. All right. So,
Well,
I'm fine with as long as it's public property. I just
Yeah.
I don't want.
I thought that the strip along the road was town. Or I can put it on the other side of the street.
I think Duxbury Marketplace owns that.
Yeah.
All right, so,
might have to stay out of
the vote will be amended to remove Depot Street in front of the Brothers
Well,
Market.
I don't want
What?
to. I just want to clarify that if it's public land, we're authorizing that.
Okay.
But we're just not authorizing, in the event we as a board are mistaken and it's
Right,
private
right.
property, we're
Okay.
not saying somebody can
All right.
put a sign on somebody else's
Brian,
property.
I can check
There we
with
go.
Brothers,
So-
and if
Thank
they,
you.
if they say
Sure.
it's, okay.
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
we're good? We're
Yep.
still good with the
Yep,
vote
that's,
as
working
is?
with that. Did you get a second? If not, I'm seconding it.
Second? Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Michael, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Brian, aye.
Amy, I.
Excellent.
Great.
Thank you, Felicia.
All right.
All right, that's it. We're now down to Town Manager's Report.
I swear it'll be quick. Two things. One, I received notification from Chief Carbone this week that their canine unit, Cirque, had been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and and sadly his condition declined rapidly, and the difficult decision was made to put him to sleep. He was laid to rest with full honors, accompanied by many canine units and officers throughout the area. He is buried at Angel View Pet Cemetery in Middleborough. I thought on behalf of the board and myself, want to extend to Officer Stephen Hall, who was Cirque's handler, our deepest and sincerest condolences. And Cirque was with us for 8 years. He was a dedicated pup. He will be missed. The other item I wanted to mention, and the only other item I had, is the East Street update. The short answer is Rod Jackson has advised us that the East Street Bridge will be opening on Friday, if not sooner.
Of this week.
This week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rennie.
There you go.
All right, next item on the agenda is committee appointments. I'm just going to read out the motions. I move that Select Board appoint the following individuals to respective boards and committees. Barbara Hayes to the Community Preservation Committee to fill an unexpired term expiring June 30th, 2026, and further reappoint Ms. Hayes to a 3-year term expiring June 30, 2029. Kathy Cross to the Community Preservation Committee for a 3-year term beginning June 30th, 2026, and expiring June 30, 2029. And Denise Garvin to the Municipal Commission on Disabilities to fill an unexpired term expiring June 30th, 2028. And finally, Nicholas Boynton to the Nuclear Advisory Committee to fill an unexpired term expiring June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Michael, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Brian, aye.
Amy, I.
All right, thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman, if I could just take a moment to
Yeah.
thank those volunteers for stepping forward to be appointed to boards and committees, because we rely upon volunteers across the town to do the hard work of municipal government. We thank them.
Yeah, well said. Thank you. Next item is an event permit. This is an event permit for David Connors and Denise Mehagan on August 15, 2026, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. the Bluefish River Bridge, Washington Street, the Duxbury Rotary Club, the famous Bluefish River
Yes.
Duck Race.
It's fixed.
One and only.
Oh, man.
Fernando won.
I won one year.
Did you?
I did. And I feel bad.
No, it's not. It's a wonderful,
It's a
wonderful
wonderful
event.
And every year I go ahead and buy my duck or two. Anyway, right. Motion.
running.
I move that Mr. David Connors and Miss Denise Mehagan, as representatives of the 2026 Duxbury Rotary Club Bluefish River Duck Race, be granted permission to utilize the Bluefish River Bridge located on Washington Street for their event as described in the application on August 15, 2026, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., contingent upon the conditions of the permit.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Michael, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Brian, aye.
And
Amy, I.
Amy, aye. Fantastic.
May we continue the minutes till next meeting. I offered a number of edits to Ashley.
Got it.
That's fine.
All right, so who is going to read the bonus shellfish season?
No, I'll read it.
I think, I don't have the capacity
Are
to
there
to read
cohogs
that one.
involved?
Yeah.
All right. I move that the Select
Sally.
Board declare a temporary
Sally,
bonus shellfish season for the commercial harvesting of soft-shell clams for the month of June and the commercial harvesting of quahog clams for the month of June.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Michael, I.
Fernando, aye.
Brian, aye.
Amy, I.
Amy, aye. Fantastic.
So announcements.
Announcements. Where's the announcements? Announcements.
Shellfish.
Wait, do I have a,
I don't think we have announcements, do we?
I don't know, were there any?
I don't think there's no announcements. Okay, I move that, well, the announcement, our next meeting of the Select Board is June 8th. Monday, June 8th, Monday, June 8th at 6:30 PM in the Mural Room.
Here.
Here,
Right.
this place, wonderful. Can I have a motion to adjourn the Select Board meeting of June 1st?
So moved.
Oh, I'll second.
Oh, second, excellent. Roll call vote.
Michael, I.
Fernando, aye.
Brian, aye.
And,
Amy, I.
all right.
Feel better, Amy.
Yeah, feel
Yeah, get
better, Amy.
Amy.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.